Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today we're going to have a nice fun show. I've got three of my friends here with me, and we're going to be talking about DC live action movies, which is a very broad topic, so should give us plenty to talk about. So first off, if you're not aware, I'll go through and introduce everybody. We've got the world famous #1 Marmaduke fan. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure to have the Marmaduke fan. Next up, we have Tristan of Nerdette's Newsstand. How are you today?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You ready to talk about some DC live action movies?
Yeah, except for this time I'm like, oh, I can talk more comics than I can talk movies. I'm so bad with movies.
Right? Well, that's the opposite of most people. Usually people know the movies and not the comics, so you're a step above in that regard.
There we go. That works for me.
Right? Well, at least when you see the movie, you'll know what comic it's referencing, if nothing else.
Yeah, there we go.
So, and also, we got, once again, Unranked Chevron. What's happening, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm ready to talk about some movies and how much they suck.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're not all good. I mean, some are good, some are bad. It's a real hit or miss. It just depends. And of course, like any art form, it's totally subjective, which is part of why I never understood why people get all bent out of shape about, you know, if you say you don't like a movie, it's always such a big deal, you know.
Yeah.
Like some people like some things and some people don't. It's just the way it is, you know. Doesn't mean their opinion isn't valid. So, Marmaduke, what movie would you like to start off with?
Well, the most recent one I watched was Justice League, and I didn't watch it in theaters. I kind of heard like the disappointed reviews of it, so I went in expecting it to be awful, and I enjoyed myself. I just don't know what they're going to do next with this movie series. So, but I thought it was a fun romp. You know, couple goofy moments, but mostly like just a fun action story. So, do you know if there's any news on whether like they're going to be able to continue this series? Is Ben Affleck really leaving?
It's all hearsay for the most part. You know, they make stories out of nothing, right? Like there aren't, I don't know so much about Ben Affleck because that's all conjecture. But as far as Henry Cavill being Superman, they're like, he's not going to be Superman. He's not going to be Superman. Well, there aren't any scripts for him to play the role of Superman. He's more than perfectly willing to be Superman if Warner Brothers would write a script and put him in a movie. But so far, that's just not happening because, you know, we need, what is it, Blue Beetle and another Joker movie and Birds of Prey and what other obscure things they can dredge up. But
yeah.
No. We don't need
like dark movie that's been in developmental hell for 8 years now, but
there's so many. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But it's spring for even a cameo. Like for the longest time, we were thinking there'd be a Superman cameo in Shazam, but
doesn't look like it.
No, Warner Brothers didn't want to foot the bill, actually.
But yeah, it's kind of weird watching Justice League because it very much feels like a movie that was just stitched together on the editing floor. But I think that Marmaduke's right. If you just watch it as a movie, it's pretty enjoyable. But if you actually like think about it, then you're in a little bit of trouble. And it's like you can see where it's like, okay, this is where Zack Snyder, you know, where they stopped using his part and started using the Joss Whedon reshoots. And you can look at the trailer and you can see that some scenes are like they're in the movie, but they're completely different from the trailer. The trailer is just overall like darker in terms of the cinematography and stuff like that. And
so they brought in Joss Whedon to give it like a little bit more comedy flair.
Pretty much. It was, well, Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide, which obviously is incredibly, really bad. And he thought he could like work through it, and he found out that he just couldn't. So he quit the movie. So they needed to bring in somebody for the final editing process, and they thought, well, Avengers was a big deal, so let's bring in Joss Whedon. And Joss Whedon came in, and he's like, I have no clue what to do with this. Because, the movie was 95% shot at that point, so they had to go into a whole bunch of reshoots.
Wow.
Some scenes were completely different. Some scenes were added to. Some scenes were just made up of whole cloth. And so, yeah, it's very much a movie that's like a Franken movie.
Yeah, a number of things are removed too that you see in the trailers and don't see in the final cut.
And Zack Snyder's been surprisingly open about what he would have done. And there's a fan base on the internet that is convinced that there is this Snyder cut that is just so much better than what we got. And I don't know, because I've seen Batman vs Superman, and I don't know about that. But
yeah, the Zack Snyder cult, they just give me a headache sometimes. It's like with Shazam, they're all upset because it's colorful, it's got colors, it's not a DC movie, and it's like, have we ever looked at a DC comic book? Like, yeah, it's painful. But hey, I got to step away from the computer for one moment, but you guys keep talking. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to.
Thank you.
Captain Marvel. I refuse to let Marvel can legally own Captain Marvel. The Shazam is going to be the Captain Marvel movie. So I love the character. But my dad, he always, he says, I used to have all these great $1 million comic books, and my mom threw away my collection. So he grew up reading Captain Marvel, kind of in the day when Captain Marvel was more popular than Superman. So just kind of like this generational thing where, like your dad grew up reading these characters, and I got introduced to him through the cartoons, and they've done this really interesting thing with him where they've made like the child aspect of the character more important. Like the old version of the character, he just became Captain Marvel, and now he retains sort of like his, young, innocent mindset. I really like that as a character idea, and they definitely seem to be going that direction in the trailer for Shazam.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why this movie's going to do so good, is because DC really does need that like kid feel to something, because there's not been a movie where you could go with your kid to take them. And I think this looks the best out of the ones coming up so far, just because of that simple aspect. I think it's going to do the best.
Yeah. And Aquaman with the orange and green. Go ahead, Unranked.
I was just agreeing with her. I didn't have anything to say.
What do you guys think of the Aquaman trailers?
Oh, it looks so polished. And I mean, I am looking forward to that one too, because when I was growing up, Aquaman to me was always like that goofy character that talked to fish. You know what I mean? Like, he was never my favorite. And I would read some stuff, but usually it was just like if I didn't have anything else to read. And I think that this movie is going to take back that stigma that comes along with Aquaman. And I think Jason Momoa is what they needed to do that. And it looks so polished. Amber Heard looks so good. I think it's going to be amazing.
I hope it is, but unfortunately, DC fans actually did a video about this a couple weeks ago, that it's not tracking to do very well.
Yeah, but the reviews have been really, really positive. Like, they're saying it's the best movie since Wonder Woman, Well, I mean, there's not been that many good ones in between. But, I mean, in the DC universe, there hasn't been that many good ones, so if we finally get one. And I don't think it helps it's coming out around Christmas time either.
Yeah, well, that's usually a time for one movie from that season to do really, really well. But that's why Disney.
I'm betting it's Spider-Man. Like, I was at the movie theater, and Spider-Man just got like the 6-year-old sees Spider-Man and it says Spider-Man. And,
yeah,
I like the new version of Aquaman, but he still hasn't reached that like every kid knows who he is and what's his status.
I feel like that they've tried so many ways over the years to make Aquaman seem cool after the whole Super Friends thing. And it's never really caught on. It's like he's got a pretty dedicated following in the comics, but in terms of like the wider perception of him, Warner Brothers has never been able to change the perception that he's just a goofy fish guy. And I feel like Jason Momoa probably is the best shot at doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to be successful or not.
I consciously remember watching the Justice League cartoon with my older brother, and we got to the Aquaman cartoon. He said, I hate this. They gave Aquaman a beard and long hair, and they cut off his head. They think that's going to make him cool. Aquaman will never. Simpsons. I think Simpsons used to just make fun of Aquaman all the time. You know.
So does Family Guy all the time.
Yeah, that's been the. I mean, ever since he was riding around on a seahorse in the old Super Friends cartoon.
They really didn't do him any justice, though.
Yeah, it's like supposedly back in like the Golden Age, he was actually like the most powerful hero in terms of what he could actually do, supposedly.
Wow.
But somehow that hasn't carried over into the modern era. And so now it's like, yeah, if you had if you needed a Justice Leaguer to do anything that's not specifically tied to water, why would you ever call anybody like Aquaman for anything, even though he's actually got a really interesting power set?
Yeah.
Yeah, even since the Drowned Earth started coming out, I've been reading more and more Aquaman because I like I said, it's just never been one of my favorite people, and I didn't realize like how much more it went beyond just talking to fish. Like his telepathy, there's so much like how strong he really is, and it's just kind of, he's better as a punchline than as a superhero.
Yeah, and Jeff Johns and Ivan Reyes with New 52 tried really, really hard to make people like him. And still didn't quite, once again, the public perception still the same.
Yay or nay on getting his hand cut off? Do you want to see like a hook-handed Aquaman in the movies, or keep all of them attached?
Yeah, and that it was a he could like manipulate it, right? Like it wasn't just a hook; it did all these things, right, or something. I don't know. I never really read that much part of that.
Yeah,
about Aquaman,
because the Aquaman stigma. Like I would say, hey, that looks cool, and my brother would say, I am not going to buy any Aquaman comics. I didn't get to read any.
Well, now aren't they even changing it again after Drowned Earth? Aren't they kind of changing him as the comics go on from here?
Probably.
I think they are.
I read a few of them, but I haven't kept up. They were doing this whole like, oh, it's Game of Thrones underwater thing, where he was like a failed king, and it was all about like setting up Mira as the new queen, and he's like a bad king, but he had to become a hero. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I've been taking a break from DC and Marvel comics for a while, so that's from 2017.
Taking a break from DC, and leave and come back to Harris. No, it's all good. Sorry about that. I'm back.
Hey,
what's up, guys?
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Sorry I'm late. I've been doing other things, and yeah.
Cool.
Glad you were able to join us.
It's an awful lot of background noise from somebody.
Sorry about that. That was probably me. I'll mute myself.
Yeah, we were just talking about how much the public thinks Aquaman sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether the movie's going to change that or not.
They'll if the Aquaman movie's successful, they'll change their minds in a few years. Trust me, they said that shit about Thor and Iron Man, and look what happened. Their big name.
I like your patriotism, but is the music gonna be? Are you gonna?
That's let's say my brother's watching a football game. Sorry about that.
Sure thing. Yeah, Aquaman, I don't know. My main qualm with that is they are opening it overseas beforehand. Like, why do they keep doing that?
Because of piracy concerns.
It seems counter. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why they do that.
Huh.
Because Americans pirate movies, but not nearly as much as foreigners pirate movies. It's pretty crazy. So if they release it in the foreign market first, then at least some foreigners have to see it first in order to pirate it for other people.
Okay.
I'll just say this: I'm still waiting for that Dragon Ball movie that's still in Japan. So on bootleg. Well, I mean, it's out of the country, but I mean, shit. I mean, I'll say this: Europe, it's like Great Britain. Let's say it's lucky enough they've seen it first than us. I'll say.
Are they still translating it?
Well, they're already done. It's already translated. It's already
all right.
It's much. The way dubs are very quick now.
Good.
back to the old days. I'm hoping they do a faster dub that when the show comes back in 2019. And yeah, but anyway.
So who would win in a fight, Goku or Aquaman?
Oh,
Let's
God.
derail this.
That's a tough one, I think.
I have to go with my homeboy Aquaman, because I'm sorry. Because I will say this, Aquaman can do a lot of things, but I mean, granted, Goku has a lot of stuff too, but it's, I mean, Aquaman could push Goku down to the deepest ocean and or just bring out a kaiju monster, like something like Godzilla. I mean, like, it's just that crazy.
I feel like the Flyer always has an advantage, though. It's like he could literally like steam the entire ocean with I don't know, some kind of energy wave.
Yeah, Goku would just tear Aquaman in half. I don't even think that's a contest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny because the Aquaman movie, it looks like they heard all of the concerns about the DC movies, that they're too drab and not colorful, and that they lack humor, and that they lack, you know, any kind of charismatic leads, and all these other complaints. And it looks like they tried to fix all of them, and yet it's tracking to be the lowest opening of all the DC movies. I don't know,
because it's like, I'll tell you what, that like me and my friends talk about this shit all the time. This is the biggest no-no, and thank God my other movie, the movie I was most looking forward to out of the entire year, move out of that month, which is Battle Angel, the manga adaptation film that was that was pushed back not once but twice, and this month is jam packed with films. You got a Mary Poppins film, you got a
Transformers.
Yeah, but Transformers, which is 50-50 on that. I liked a lot of things. I mean, but granted, the movie concerns me. I'll get down into it a little bit, but you have a Mary Poppins film, you have all these films. I think you have another Disney film, but I mean, it just, to me, I feel like Aquaman, it's just going to be either is going to be successful, or just like modern successful, where it was a good movie, but it got smashed, and I mean smashed on other movies like Mary Poppins, because I feel like Mary Poppins is going to dominate that month.
That's what they're projecting.
It's definitely that, hey, let's take the kids to the movie season. I mean, but Aquaman has the advantage of being a superhero, right? So if it's, hey, let's take Junior to a movie and Junior's into superheroes, I guess Aquaman's still competing with Spider-Man for that market. So this is not a good season to release it, even if it's a really good movie.
Oh, well, speaking about that, you just mentioned Spider-Man. That Spider-Man movie is going to be a major success. That's the only thing I say that's going to be like the top two is going to be the Mary Poppins film and the Spider-Man film. Aquaman, I feel like, will be somewhat successful, but it's going to be like Power Rangers, where it was a good movie, but failed on the box office, or it wasn't successful enough that the studio thinks it should be able to get a sequel.
Yeah,
I think
Power Rangers had that issue too. Of wasn't it PG-13, but they should have made it like G or PG for their target audience. So it's like a bunch of people aren't going to go and watch Power Rangers. That's the theory on what sank its box office, anyways. Because who are you making like a PG-13 Power Rangers movie for? Like, what is that target audience?
It was supposed to target teenagers, but but the problem is, it was the market. The marketing failed miserably on that, and plus the toy sales. Once you have all that combined, your movie fails instantly. Because Power Rangers is a toy commercial, and let's just say it had a shitty toy lines, and it's just how things are. I mean, granted, there's supposedly going to be a sequel, but I highly doubt it. But that's just me.
Yeah. So Tristan, you're being awfully quiet. How are you doing?
I already got kicked once.
Did you get kicked while I was gone?
No, just now.
Oh, you left and came back. I was watching the chat, actually. They were saying You guys need to shut up and let Miss Beautiful Voice Tristan talk more.
I talk plenty.
No, you got to talk.
No, I don't.
So, did you get a chance to talk about live action DC movie?
Well, we talked about Aquaman, but I didn't like talk about any specifically other than that.
One. Okay, well, did you want to pick one?
I think my favorite one still to date is Batman Begins. Just because I love the Christopher Nolan ones. I really do. And I feel like that was the first time they actually got Batman right. Like, not only that, but Liam Neeson did an amazing job as Ross. And I love that I always liked Batman when they had the, the mob stories kind of entailed in with it. I always enjoyed those more. So I like seeing that. There was just so much good going on with that movie that it was the first time that I really, really, really enjoyed a Batman movie.
Wow. Really? So you didn't enjoy the 89, 92 ones?
The 89 was okay. I mean, I haven't seen it in so many years that, like I said, I'm not a huge movie person.
Oh, yeah,
but I haven't seen it in so many years. Which one came out in 92?
Batman
Returns. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one gives me nightmares.
Oh.
I remember being a little... Yes! Oh, it's the absolute worst. I remember being a little girl watching it when I was like 5. Or maybe... No, I was probably a little bit older, but still. And I remember seeing him, and I wasn't even reading comic books yet. And I was like, this is horrifying. Like, they made... And I like it looking back now, but they made him so, like... It was, like, almost... It wasn't his origin story. It was just... Oh, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And then she was the worst, too. Like, when he eats that bird or whatever. Oh, I hated that movie when I was a little girl. I haven't watched it in probably 15 years, but still.
So you'll stick with Batman Begins.
Yeah, I love those. I love all 3 of those movies, though. I even love listening to Bane talk as that whimsical voice.
Right.
except for the Talia turn. I don't care for that, but those 3 movies are amazing. Like, I can, from not being a movie person, I can stick it in and watch the whole thing.
So
I think that
go ahead.
I was going to say the Nolan trilogy kind of got what made Batman work as a character. You know, like Batman's had all this history. He's had decades and decades of history. He's been on his own. He's been on the Justice League, and so they just kind of focused on like the most Batman-y things about Batman in a solid standalone trilogy, right? And then immediately after that, they start getting prepped for this Justice League stuff, and I feel like they said, okay, let's copy like the dark color palette and the seriousness from Nolan's trilogy, but they didn't get that. What made Nolan's trilogy work is those are kind of like they took all these ideas about Batman, they stuffed them into a great 3-movie arc.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so good about, like, the casting everything was good about it, and even when like what was it in 3 when we have Catwoman. Even like she technically was never called Catwoman or whatever. I mean, there's all these different things online you see, but she was good. Every single person they casted was really well done. And I don't know, just that those 3 movies are some of the best that I've ever seen, even just movies in general.
Yeah. They're up there with Star Wars for best trilogies ever, like Batman trilogy, Star Wars trilogy, Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, I've never seen any of those movies.
Wow. You are not a movie person.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
I'm used to it, but yeah, it's amazing. Like, you haven't seen Star Wars, you haven't seen Lord of the Rings. Like, that's like, you'd almost have to go out of your way to have never seen those. Like, right?
No, I have seen Star Wars, the first 3, like the old ones.
Oh, okay.
But I was like 7.
Yeah.
And the only thing I even know about Lord of the Rings is I know they're based off the book, and I always heard it was just like you kind of watch this guy walk for 3 movies, so I never watched him.
Aw. There's war and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't watch movies. I read.
They walk most of the way. They walk there, and then they're like, "Oh, let's just catch a ride from the Eagles. We could have flown the whole way."
No, that would have been dumb. Stop saying that.
Then it would have. I know, right? Like, people do say that, but it could have been 1 movie instead of 3.
Tolkien wanted the eagles to be like metaphorical of divine intervention, so he specifically didn't want to use them that much because he had all of these like Catholic ideas about the theology of Middle Earth. It's really the Silmarillion is insane. Like that's the work of an insane genius. The Silmarillion.
Yeah, I can't even deal with that book. It's just too much.
It's.
I'll say something.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll just say some of the Dark Knight trilogy. It's a very great trilogy. I do like it a lot. My only concern is maybe this is just me, and I do like Batman a lot. But I really wish they could have introduced the Bat family. That's just what I feel.
See, but I feel like that would have taken away from a lot of it just because it was so good, because it was so centered just around Batman.
Yeah, but that's true. But I mean, like one thing I love about Batman's story is his let's just say is the Bat family. Like there's people that are out there to help him. The trilogy is fantastic, but I feel like the third one kind of suffered a bit because of yours truly, Heath Ledger's tragic passing.
Right.
And I feel like the third one was good, but it wasn't as good as the second film. I feel like the second film towers like out of all of them, and you know, like, and it's just that's just how I feel on that film. I mean, on that trilogy.
The IMDb scores and Rotten Tomatoes.
But I will say this. At least, I mean, you know, you have directors like Christopher Nolan literally had a brain cell that could do something great. Unlike certain directors in the current DC movies now, that is, let's just say, can't do a good job or just doesn't understand or just rush it for a cheap cash in. Cough, cough, Suicide Squad. That movie so much.
I like that movie. I don't care.
Well, I'll go into it later, but I mean, the whole thing is that on the DC, I feel like DC, that was the last hurrah, and the next one is probably Wonder Woman. That's just saying a lot. I mean, I feel like out of these DC movies, I feel like we're playing out of strings, or putting dots in a board right out of the gate, because the whole thing I'm like looking at is just I want to see like a DC universe that is consistent, and I feel like Warner Brothers isn't confident on their people to take their time to do their movies. Like they were going to take a scene from Wonder Woman where she was helping out the soldiers, and and I'm like, you were going to take that out? That was an important scene. And now there's been heavily rumors that there's going to be a Flashpoint type scenario where Wonder Woman's going to go back in time and change the events of Steve Trevor's death. Which if that's the case, I'm out of here, because honestly, like, look, Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck are gone practically. I know there's rumors off again of him leaving and him staying, and it's like, dude, he's gonna be gone no matter what. And I feel like I don't trust Matt Reeves either, because I did like how he did his final or his last take on the Apes film, and I feel like, dude, that was not what needed to happen to end a trilogy. Or if that's how you end a trilogy, then that's a pretty disappointing one. I'm just saying. And I just don't.
Well, I think with.
Go on.
Oh, I was just thinking. I mean, they're going to have to change course, like whether they want to or not, just because Scott Snyder isn't there. Hoodoo TV, yes, we are getting a Blue Beetle movie. They just announced that the other day, and I did a video about it. I have no idea why they're making so many movies. Like, I would just do a Teen Titan movie. Why?
I'll tell you why they're doing it. Because they want to see what sticks and what doesn't stick. I mean, this is Warner Brothers. Like, I mean, I feel like Warner Brothers is the new Paramount, the new Sony, the new everything, practically. I mean, I feel like whatever they go, it could be a hit or a miss. And I'm just expecting it a hit or a miss. And Aquaman's one of them. And that's another thing. Like, when you miss the whole, like, if you can't establish your main characters and you're introducing all these other characters, then what's the point of introducing these characters? Hell, I'm calling it right now. Either two things are going to happen. Either they're going to go in a stay course where it ends on a certain point, then they reboot it, or they recast the Batman and Superman when the time's right.
I wouldn't mind if they just pretend some of the early movies didn't happen, and they could say, okay, we're going to pretend that Wonder Woman happened and Aquaman happened, and we're just gonna call Mulligan on it and go try again.
Try it again, like you redo the Superman. Like I think Superman, like the Man of Steel, was underappreciated. But yet again, like that's just me. Like I like the film, but I feel like they should have developed Superman, and I really feel like he got ruined, like really bad. Superman is that character now. I feel like he is the Green Lantern. That Warner Brothers doesn't see him as successful, so they want other. They're the studio now that they're not going to do that. But yet again, I could be proven wrong. But I mean, I just want them to do good. But it's just, it depends. I mean, it depends on how things go. I mean, it doesn't look good. I don't like the fact that the way it's staying course on the DC films. I mean, when you have a trilogies of Marvel movies on Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and you look at these other characters, it's just very, let's say, sad and sickening of that shit. But that's just me.
You brought up the Bat family earlier. I'd kind of be interested to hear Unranked and Tristan's thoughts on Batman as dad of the Bat family versus Batman as more of a loner character.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never cared about the Bat family. I've never cared about Robin. I've never cared about Nightwing. I've never cared about any of them. I kind of like Batman being a loner, and I get the Tim Drake thing where Tim Drake convinces Batman that having a partner makes him better because now he has to think not only about it, because Batman almost has a death wish, so he will be reckless by himself, but if he's got someone else to care about, now he's a better vigilante. So I like that element, but in terms of like who the best Robin is and all those debates that are common in geekdom, I've never been able to bring myself to get too involved with that.
I don't really care about that either. I mean, like personally, they're all awesome. You ask me. I mean, they're just as great or even awesome. It's just how things are. I mean, can't compare any of them because they're. It's like comparing a let's say piece of shit car to an amazing car. You just can't do that. Anyway, but I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. I know Tristan's a fan of the Bat family.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm exactly the opposite. I like all the Bat family. Like, well, not Damian so much, but I can't stand his character. Well, Super Son's kind of redeemed him somewhat for me, but when he's with his dad or with other characters, I don't like him. But I think as far as like the Christopher Nolan stuff goes, if they'd added any Bat family, it would have been bad. I don't think it would have worked out near as well, but I'd like to see something. And I know a long while back, we were supposed to get a Batgirl movie that fell through. I'm sure we're going to have rumors about, there's always rumors about it, but it would be nice to see something like that.
I feel like it emphasizes something different about Batman. Like you first have to kind of care about him as a character, and then what would being in a father figure like do to that man? And it's also weird because of like the legacy of the goofy old golden age. Like how do you make it like not creepy if you're going to have like a really serious, realistic tone? But that's kind of what they've done with Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. They've kind of found a way to make like the goofy old 50s version of the Robin character work even like a semi-serious story.
Right, and then you get that you kind of have, it makes you like Batman on a different level, whereas like you feel more empathetic towards him when something would have happened to one of the Robins, like with Jason or something. Him getting over that was a big, big deal. And, he had to decide whether or not he was going to have any sort of revenge or not. And then he had to, when Jason did come back, he had to kind of say, why he didn't kill the Joker, or why he didn't seek any sort of revenge. So I think it gives a whole new level of liking Bruce Wayne or Batman than it does without those characters. I think it would be smart, but I don't know if it would ever happen.
Well, Robert in the chat wanted to ask how you felt about Robin in The Dark Knight Rises, since we're talking.
That wasn't Robin.
Well, Robin in quotes. He did have it in quotes. You know what I mean? The Gordon Levitt's character.
I don't know. It was weird. I guess it wasn't Robin to me. It was just like some random character that supposedly his first name was Robin or something at the end. It didn't make any sense. And he was good for what he was worth, but he wasn't Robin to me.
They wanted to have something where it's like, oh, Batman inspired someone, you know? And I think they tried to like add a few bits and pieces of different Robins together. It was almost like kind of like a really that his first name was Robin. So it was sort of like a last little bit of fan service joke at the end. And I feel like that's the end of the story. Like you can't make another movie about that character because
and he goes into that weird like bat cave and like keeps drawing those things. Like I don't know. I think it's great they use the characters like as Batman to inspire somebody, but I don't feel like he was ever supposed to be Robin.
Yeah, I feel like they like he figured out Batman's identity, kind of like Tim Drake. He's an orphan, kind of like Dick Grayson, and I don't know. I guess he's a poor kid, kind of like Jason Todd. So it's like little tiny bits and pieces of the characters mashed up. It was a corny ending, but you know, a movie trilogy that serious needs a little bit of cornballishness at times.
Here's my question about Dark Knight Rises, because I was watching it again today. That's a long movie. Would you guys say it's a little too long? 2 hours and 45 minutes?
Yeah. DC likes to do that.
I was okay with it.
I said it's long, but I'm not sure what you'd cut.
Oh, there's so much
Talia's part. Just cut Talia al Ghul's part, you know?
Just cut Talia altogether.
You know what I would do instead of cutting a whole character or anything like that is just
cut Bane off. I mean, like, he was wasted. Like the whole plan with Talia, it was.
Anyway, like I was saying, if you don't take out an entire character, you could just speed up individual scenes. Like the very beginning there where they're all gathered together and Jim Gordon's going to talk and he takes the paper out and he looks at it and back and forth. You know, it's like 15 minutes before you get past all that. It's just like the individual scenes could all be sped up to the point where it'd be like maybe 2 hours long, 2 hours and 15 minutes maybe, and you wouldn't really have to change anything.
They should just remake A Tale of Two Cities and dress up all the characters in like DC character costumes, and that'll be a great third movie for the Batman trilogy.
I did like
you guys know what I'm talking about, like all the Tale of Two Cities references in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one said that was his primary inspiration for that movie.
Yep.
So. Not surprisingly. Yeah. Why not? Let's just do it.
It's just so unusual, like A Tale of Two Cities plus Batman, and it's actually great because Batman's a law and order type of character.
The movie it can drag a bit. I don't know. I really like that movie. I even like Bane. I like his voice because it shows that even though he's this very physically powerful guy, that there's still a weakness there that he can never really quite get over. So I actually like that his voice is kind of like high pitched like that. But
yeah, I like Bane's voice too, and I like a couple other aspects. Yeah, he's really strong, which is good. They got the look down all right, but the main thing is he's intelligent. Like so many times they just make Bane be a big brute, like a strong man, a tough guy, but like he's very smart in the comics and in this movie. So
he was great, but I mean, like I felt like he was underutilized. Because I felt like he was wasted on Talia.
Yeah, I could see that.
It split up the character. Like, if you combine Talia and Bane, it's an interesting character. And now it's Talia's got this drive, but Bane's stealing all the scenes. You should let the villain with the interesting backstory also be the villain who gets to steal all the scenes.
Yeah. Well, do you think they tried to do too much then? I guess that's what you guys were saying. Just cut out Talia. That seems to be what you're all in agreement on, huh? No?
Yep, pretty much.
All right. Universal, unanimous, electoral college landslide victory.
So would you say of the three, The Dark Knight's the best one?
No.
I actually like Batman Begins better.
Yeah, I do too.
Interesting. But
I think they should have used Scarecrow more, though. I love Scarecrow, and I think that guy did an amazing job on it. And I wish they would have utilized that a little bit more, but that's really my only bitch about that one. That's my favorite.
I enjoy sitting down to watch Batman Begins more. I respect the presentation of the primal fear of the Joker in a movie, because it would be so easy to just, like, ham it up and make him a silly character. I like getting that terror I felt for the Joker as a child across in a serious film. So that's kind of, I respect The Dark Knight for that.
Yeah, I think I like The Dark Knight the best. It's the only one of the three I saw in the theater, though, so that might be part of the reason.
Yeah, it's like, well, part of it too is that I feel like a lot of things had to come together in order to make the Joker's plan work, which I guess that's true of a lot of movie villains. But
well,
I was under the impression he was just kind of making stuff up as he would go along, and sometimes he would get lucky,
Yeah,
that boat thing would have taken some planning.
Yeah, definitely.
But
at
the same time, I feel you have to suspend disbelief more for Bane's plan than for the Joker's plan.
Yeah, and I guess
for sure.
And I guess Batman Begins, the whole microwave emitter, that really didn't make any sense either. But
well, that's the comic book aspect of it. We need a little comic book goofiness.
Yeah.
Just mind saying this. What's your thoughts on, like, just I want to know your guys' thoughts on Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman. I'd love to know. I thought he was great. Very fresh on the character. Same goes to Ben Affleck. But I mean, like, just to summarize on Christian Bale, like, he was. A lot of people just give him flack. A lot of people say he was a really not that good Batman. I thought he was a great Batman.
I thought he was I thought he was a really good Batman. Like, I feel like Ben Affleck gets, like, the weepy side of Bruce better, like the kind of grumpy, depressive side of Bruce better. But I think overall, Christian Bale did a way better job than Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Well, really?
Yeah,
I disagree, but that's fine.
That's cool. I think the only thing we agree on so far is getting rid of Tyler.
Tristan, would you maybe say Bale acts the part better, but Affleck looks the part better? Yeah,
exactly. And when first they announced Ben Affleck, I was like, you know what? He's actually a really good actor. He could do this. But I feel like he focuses kind of on that mopey side of Bruce way too much. Like I'm not as side. Yeah, like he's like, of course it's how it's written too, but he just kind of, watching him as Bruce is just kind of depressing.
Is he?
He's like
Tom King. He's Tom King's Batman.
Well, he's
there you go.
Well, he's a very specific Batman.
Yes,
that's the thing.
He definitely is.
The Christopher Nolan Batman is a very generalized Batman. But
I'll just say this. Oh, no, sorry.
I was just gonna say we got to see Christian Bale a lot more screen time as Batman too, so kind of helps in the aspect that those movies were better in general. Just everything about those compared to what we've seen from Ben Affleck has been a lot better. So usually favor that.
And I feel like Ben Affleck, I mean, he, like, in my opinion, the one thing I feel like Christian Bale didn't get fully right is the cocky sense of humor that Bruce Wayne is. Like, he has a cocky sense of humor when he wants it to be. The one thing I like about Ben Affleck as Batman and also Bruce Wayne is he could do the cocky sense of humor, but he also could do the disturbed character that you don't see. That's something I love about Batman lore and the character. Like, you don't fully see what he's truly feeling, and in my opinion,
no, you're right.
And it's just like I feel like he does that perfectly, and the way. Hold on.
Yeah, I agree with what he was saying though about how Batman would probably kind of not have it on his sleeve so much how he feels. Another thing I was thinking too is, why is the Ben Affleck Batman in BVS a different character from the one in Justice League? Like, like a different person.
Yeah, that would be the Joss Whedon influence, I think.
Like,
also,
everything I did in the last movie was a mistake. I wish I hadn't done it. It's like, are you Batman?
well, also too, like, because when we see Batman in Batman v Superman, he's really at a low point. Like, he's really pissed off at the world. He's not confident in his mission at all. And the Superman thing, like when Superman comes along, it really like challenges his conception of that. But then when Superman dies at the end of the movie, that's when he realizes that he'd been making a mistake. So
the whole thing of Superman killing him off and him being the cause of the Justice League, it's just retarded. I mean, like it's just, I'm sorry, but it's like I don't like that whole movie a whole lot. I really, a lot of times when we talk about the death of Superman, that's where I get very just being critical on that movie. I just don't like how that movie went a lot, because the way they did Doomsday was just really bad, in my opinion. Very, very bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It was horrible. I'm like, there was no build up. They wasted Superman's character, waste of time. Storyline was just like, so let me get this straight. He's the cause of the Justice League, and this is supposed to be the build up for Justice League. Wow, pretty bad. And how you had the Ultimate Edition that was cut out important scenes, and I'm like, wow, this is just insane. I mean, I never thought this was going to be the case. But
they wanted Avengers. They just wanted to replicate the Avengers. Yeah.
No. They wanted that Avengers money because they saw Marvel kicking ass, and they realized we want that money. And they were trying to make that script of Justice League. And after that movie failed, because it really did, it didn't make enough money like Avengers did. It just says a lot, because they failed. It just realized, like, it's over. There wasn't even a war. There wasn't even nothing. And it just feels like the only thing DC has is their TV shows, their animation, and their games being Marvel. Comes to movies, no chance. Not completely different ballgame.
Well, it's not insignificant, though. Like, in terms of those things actually winning out. Well, those things being better than Marvel, it's not insignificant, though.
How's that?
Oh.
Really? Like, I mean,
the movies aren't the end all be all, right? So if you're doing
no, they're not. They have flaws. They have problems. But I'm saying, successful wise, critic and fan viewpoint, and or moviegoers in general, like, they're more successful. They're making more money and keep pumping them out every year. And DC and Warner Brothers, and especially Warner Brothers, failed on that whole thing. I feel like they just. I think they just don't care, and they're just doing movies that are trying to be successful. They are back.
Yeah. I think it's a double-edged sword with that kind of thing. Heck, it's like making YouTube videos. You know, do you want to make the video you want to make, or do you want it to go viral, or at least get more than 50 views, right? Like, I think that selling movie tickets is the same way. It's like, okay, we want to, you know, stick to our vision, but this thing cost us $500 million, so we better sell some tickets. You know, I think that's kind of a problem. But I agree with what he was saying too about things being cut, that it's like the things you would leave in, like in the theatrical BVS when the Capitol building gets blown up, Superman just like flies off. He's like, fuck y'all, and takes off. But in the extended cut, he actually stays behind and helps like pick people out of the rubble and hangs around and acts like Superman, you know, and he doesn't leave until they're like, okay, you can't really help anymore. You're just causing it, you know, like, then he leaves. But that's what they cut. So it's just like they got everything backwards. You know, you need 100% more of Superman, like rescuing people and stuff like that.
Or just him being heroic. I mean, or inspires others. Yeah. Like, I mean, one of the things I wish Superman was in, it was the Justice League more, because I wish Superman would inspire the Flash in the movie universe, that tell him you have a gift that we don't have. We need you. And he inspires hope. And I feel like they underdeveloped him to such a degree. I mean, like, the actor left, and it sucks. It's like, that's like having Robert Downey Jr. leaving and going doing a Transformer movie or something else. And it's just
I thought Henry was staying.
gone.
Henry Cavill?
Yeah, I thought he was staying too.
I think he
I
is
can
staying.
clarify it. Yeah, here's the deal. He was willing to play a role if Warner Brothers would give him one, but they don't have any scripts written for him. So people are
All right.
reporting that he isn't willing to play the roles, but there aren't any roles for him to play. So it's
No,
kind of like
no. It's not. It's none of that crap. It's all about the money.
Sure.
He wanted top dollar with all the actors get paid in their big time films. They didn't want to do that. They say you're getting your films the way you got paid, and he says no, I'm not doing that, and he left. But yet again, there's still hope that he could come in. It's just it's just very weird, and I don't know what to say. I'm hoping he comes back, but yet again,
he's willing to play the roles if they'll pay him.
Yeah, and at that point, he's going to be busy with The Witcher, and you might as just reboot Superman again, and we're just I really don't know what I can say. And Batman too, because Ben Affleck's just, I don't know where he's going to be at in the next 5 or 10 years, because the way I'm hearing, it's slowly going to get developed and to a point where Ben Affleck will be too old. He's going to be in his 50s, and he's just not going to look the part and be able to play the role. And we're going to need to get a young actor in his mid-20s and just go from there, which that's going to be very interesting, how I say.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to wait and see how these next 3 movies do and then decide.
Maybe they'll just get like a CGI program to make a live action version of the first 3 episodes of the Justice League cartoon, and they'll call that a movie.
That work? Probably be better.
DC fans, would you consider DC animated movies within the purview of DC movies, or are we specifically talking live action?
No, we can expand the topic.
Okay. What do you guys think of Mask of the Phantasm and Bruce Timm's Justice League? Maybe as a compare contrast to the direction they're going now.
Mask of the Phantasm got it right.
Yeah. I think that is the highest rated DC animated movie. It's got like a 9.9 out of 10 or something.
Huh. On Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, let me double check. It could be Flashpoint that's the highest rated now, but Phantasm was really, really critically acclaimed. I like it a lot too. I think it might be a little dull for today's audiences. I don't know. You maybe add some of those fight scenes where Batman beats up like 30 people. People seem to like. You'd probably do okay.
I like Justice League versus Teen Titans. Great.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Because I'm a big Raven fan, but that's just me.
I haven't seen that one yet. That's Damian Wayne as leader of the Teen Titans, right?
Yeah. And he has sort of kind of like a relationship with Raven, which was kind of interesting if you ask me, because I do like it, and they're very good chemistry, and they do a good plot line on them, and it's just a very good animated film. And that's the thing, when you have animated films are better than the live action films, that's saying a lot. I mean, when I see the live action films, I wanted to say that was 10 times better than the animated film, and that's just. I mean, it just really upsets me that we're not having that time. And I mean, I could see a great trilogy on Superman and Batman, but just they don't want to do that. They just let's just say the old days of DC are over, and we got, let's say, now, and they're not doing so well.
And when Marvel makes cartoons, I saw a goofy one while I was babysitting where it's like the Hulk at Christmas, and he's explaining the Christmas spirit, and Hulk talked to Tony Stark. So they are way behind DC on introducing kids to their characters in cartoons. Like almost every single animated version I've seen of the DC characters really does something interesting with them. They've always been hitting the cylinders in that market.
Yeah, animation's probably their strongest point, aside from the comics, but
hopefully that sticks. But what was I gonna say? Shit. I don't know. I feel like that they're trying to move towards more kid-friendly things. I think Nerdette was talking about that earlier about the Shazam movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that to try to match maybe a little bit closer to what the animated movies can be, but at least like the old cartoons.
Yeah, even Aquaman. You know,
Yeah.
if you're like 8 years old trying to convince your parents to see BVS or Aquaman or Suicide Squad, hell no, my mom wouldn't take me to a movie named Suicide Squad when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Like, I know she wouldn't have. But Aquaman,
It's got
yeah,
it's
probably.
about suicide.
Right?
I don't want you
It's
to
got it
commit
in the title.
suicide.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That movie did do pretty well. But
Try explaining Maximum Carnage to your mom. It's about Spider-Man, Mom. It's got Carnage in it.
Even the cartridge gave you away on that one.
Yeah.
A picture of Carnage on the front. And it was all red and badass looking. I remember. Super Nintendo was pretty legit, though.
Yeah. Well, I had it on Genesis.
What was that unranked? I saw you scoff over there. Are you not a Nintendo guy?
I'm not early Nintendo like that. No, I don't remember that game at all.
Oh,
yeah,
tragic.
Wait, are you not are you not a video game person at all, or just not an early Nintendo person?
Just not early Nintendo.
That is so weird to me. Like, because it usually feels like everyone who's into video games of like our age was into early Nintendo, but may not be into like the new video game world. So you're kind of, I don't know, you're like the inverse of people our age.
I guess so. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I had an N64.
That's more how I am too. Oh, there you go. 64 is actually my favorite.
But
Yeah.
Realistically, we only had a few games on that.
Nah, no way. There's so many good games on the 64.
It was a small library compared to other systems, but it was a large library if you were like a kid, you know, buying your own games. You know, you wouldn't be able to deliver enough newspapers to buy the entire N64 library. So it felt like a nice big system.
Most of the games, I mean, obviously there's a few bad ones like Superman 64.
Oh, God.
That was so bad.
There were so many good ones, though. There weren't too many duds, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, Smash Brothers, come on. You play Smash all day.
Yeah, that one was really good. We did have that one. But
yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, there was a ton on there. But I think you're right. You know, they were reporting earlier, you're talking about Aquaman. Probably its box office not doing too good. That's kind of what they're projecting, which is really a shame. It looks so polished compared to some of these other movies.
Yeah. And it could, there is every possibility that word of mouth will help it, but
yeah,
we have to see first.
Cough,
they did lowball Venom.
What was that?
Venom as well.
I was gonna say, cough, cough. The director of Spider-Man likes Antifa. Cough, cough. Go see Aquaman.
Right. Well, Aquaman. It does look really polished, though. You know, what's the craziest thing is they spent less money on it than Justice League, but it looks so much more polished. Like the CGI isn't all jagged and unfinished.
No mysterious mustache fuzz.
It's like that, just have Superman grow a mustache and a beard. Like, what's the big deal?
He looked great.
Yeah, would have saved him $35 million, and it would have looked a lot better and been comic accurate.
Crazy.
Oh well.
God, but
CGI away a mustache. And the really funny thing is they sold Justice League branded like shaving kits, razors and stuff.
Oh my God.
As well. So ironic. Justice League, like based on that movie, you know, for that movie too, was specifically promo material for it. Oh well. It's just too bad because people who will focus on little things like that kind of took away from the overall.
Yeah.
Some of the recoloring looked really weird too. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. I know, like, because it seems like Warner Brothers' big problem is that they tried to do Avengers without doing all the build-up to Avengers that Marvel Disney did. Because, I mean, Iron Man debuted in 2008, and then it was another 4 years until Avengers came out, whereas they tried to rush it all in, so that's like, but I mean, you don't have the 5 or 6 movies leading up to Justice League. So the way to, make the DCEU more accessible may be to step back from trying to do a shared universe at all. Just do like every movie is just its own movie, completely independent of the other movies. Because like you're saying, the Aquaman movie looks totally different from the other ones, and that's probably a good thing. It's not nearly as colorless and not nearly as washed out, and not nearly as serious looking. So maybe that should just be how all their movies are going forward. Just have the director of a vision and just let him do that. And if it doesn't work, well, it sucks. But
yeah. And Iron Man came out early in the superhero movie craze, right after the success of the Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, right? And I didn't even know like the difference between like which studio owns which characters, but they I think they hit a good cultural moment with the Iron Man movie.
I don't know, though, because it seems to me that I remember people saying, oh, gosh, the superhero movie thing has gotten so old and bloated that they have to bring out B-list characters like Iron Man. Huh. I feel like I remember people at the time saying that this was going to mark, because even by that point, critics and media personalities were already tired of the Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Hulk, all these Ghost Rider, all these superhero movies that come out by then. And they're like, this is going to stop soon, right? And now they're doing like scraping bottom of the barrel characters like Iron Man and Thor and stuff like that. It's going to stop, right? And it's now bigger. It's the only thing keeping Hollywood afloat right now.
It was 10 years ago. My gosh. How long do Hollywood, super trends go on for? Like how many decades were Westerns a big thing for Hollywood?
Like 60. The very first motion picture was a Western.
Okay.
And then pretty much up until like the mid 70s was when Westerns finally started to hit a wall.
Okay.
With there were even all those TV shows.
Yeah.
that were Westerns in the 70s. Because I was thinking it died off sooner, but yeah, it was still going in the 70s.
Yeah, you had True Grit.
I wonder if that's ever going to come back. They've like Lone Ranger didn't do so good.
Yeah, they just did a Magnificent Seven remake that didn't do too well. Which is like that's probably news to some people that they even did that. But I think they wanted to try to make it a thing, and it's just not, because that's just not what people want anymore.
The culture has to love it. Like I'm such an old soul. I love going back and watching Westerns because I sort of see the root of, oh, this is the samurai character. This is the, lone, hero character. Right. And so that you need that for superheroes to work. But once people get sick of something and they move on, how are you going to inspire kids to love, cowboys again? We had a generation where cowboys and Indians was their game growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not an easy prospect. And like part of it too, like, because the reason why Western became such a big genre is that it was this psychological kind of holdover from the old Western days when the West became closed off and you had fences everywhere and you had railroad tracks that connected the country, and basically the frontier itself just wasn't a frontier anymore. It was just home. And modern day people can't really relate to that. So a lot of the psychological underpinnings of a lot of the old Westerns are totally lost on people. It's like an older generation would have instinctively known these things, even if they couldn't have quantified it. But nowadays, what do people like? Well, not that so much, but
hanging around watching TV or Netflix. No.
TV is really kind of a dead medium now.
Really? I thought we were in like the golden age of television where movie stars wanted to get into TV as fast as possible.
Network TV.
Nobody watches.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cable's
like
dead.
Broadcast TV. Yeah, like regular TV. Netflix and stuff like that, sure. But that's all streaming services.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how few people watch TV. Like some of these late night or, nightly news and stuff like NBC Nightly News, stuff like that will pull less than a good YouTube channel. It's really insane.
I love it.
Well, hell, even your channel the other day, you posted you'd had millions of views. You
Yeah.
know, and these late night guys, they'll be like, "We had 8 million people," and it's like, okay, but like, what PewDiePie had like 150 million. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Crazy. Everyone's online. You know, you have 1 billion people watching YouTube and like 50 people watching TV. It's really strange.
It's targeted content. Cable news was invented when cable TV was like the way to get TV, right? And so everything about it is kind of formatted for sort of a general audience, general interest stories. But then when everyone can have their own, place to broadcast themselves, then you can find exactly the kind of content that is most specific to your interests.
Yeah. I remember when the whole thing between PewDiePie and the Wall Street Journal broke out.
Yeah.
And because they ran a hit piece on him, and then they went to him to comment on it. And he was like, he looked at their numbers, and the Wall Street Journal has a subscriber base of 2 million. And he, of course, at the time had a subscriber base of like 50 million. And he's like, I speak to more people through my own medium than through what you can offer me. So why would I give you a statement?
Yep.
Damn, get wrecked. But it's, yeah, it's true.
It's weird because they have less like actual viewers and stuff, but they're still more powerful because of their influence and who they can talk to and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I don't know what it is with the Wall Street Journal, but they've been getting YouTube channels shut down left and right.
Huh.
Most prominently, the Kill Stream.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good grief.
Didn't they get Ralph Retort taken down too?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Ralph Retort is the Kill Stream. But yeah, they got him taken off. They didn't like what he was saying about one of their reporters. Next thing you know, he's the highest, like the most viewed live stream nightly on YouTube, and it's off YouTube, just banned, deleted his channel. So that sucks. They still have a lot of power, even though they really shouldn't when it's at the end of the day, not that many people. Like, who reads newspapers? I mean, come on.
Unfortunately, it's people that have a relatively high amount of money and political influence that read newspapers still. So it's like
they know who to talk to.
Yeah. And so they have a, like, PewDiePie has an audience of like, what is it, 70 million, but like 2/3 of them are under the age of 18 or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Whereas not too many people read the Wall Street Journal, but the ones that do are people that have a relatively high amount of influence in the political sphere. So it's an unfortunate thing that it's this just power dynamics and wealth dynamics in the country that
Oops, we accidentally turned DC Fans United's movie stream into let's talk about alternative media stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bound to happen.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Right.
So anyway, back to Suicide Squad. So anyway, back to Suicide Squad and why it's way better than people say it is.
Huh. Convince me, because I've never wanted to watch it.
I need a soundboard. I need a soundboard so I can just have that Trump thing. Wrong.
So this is a movie that succeeds entirely off of style points, because you can tell me all these criticisms of the movie, that the plot makes no sense, and that a lot of elements of it, like the soundtrack, are dumb, and that it's very obvious that whatever the movie was shot as, it got changed quite a bit in editing. Like, even just watching the movie, you can kind of tell that. And then when you learn about the behind the scenes stuff, it's even more. But you've got Will Smith, who's as Deadshot. And it's probably the best movie that Will Smith has done in like at least 5 years. And you've got Margot Robbie, who's always really cool as Harley Quinn. And it's like, it became kind of, I don't know, like, there's a reason that version of the character became so popular. Like, she does have a lot of attitude.
On the screen for like 2 hours, just reading the phone book or something. Would have been better.
And it's like the plot of the movie is stupid because it's about the Enchantress going crazy, the Enchantress going crazy is like an all hands on deck type of situation. That's like, you get every Mystic hero you can to try to just control her, not even beat her. and instead you're calling in a bunch of mooks with no powers to try to stop this like god level threat. So that is pretty stupid, but just the way that everything looks, just the way that everything kind of feels, and the way that David Ayer put a lot more thought into some of it than people give him credit for. Like, there's like lots of little details. Like when you first see June turning into the Enchantress, she's surrounded by, I think it's Witchbane, which is supposed to be something that can control magic. And it's one of those little details you don't think about, but it is very obvious that the original movie was supposed to be a lot darker. And David Ayer has confirmed that like the relationship between Joker and Harley was supposed to be a lot more psychopathic than the movie shows, which makes sense because they're both psychopaths. A lot of people really don't like Jared Leto as the Joker, and maybe it's just because I don't have the love for the Joker that a lot of people do, but I kind of like seeing a Joker that is just simply motivated by sex and money, rather than like being some kind of agent of chaos or whatever.
Wait, that's what you want? I
mean, it's not my favorite version. I mean, it's not better than the Heath Ledger version, but I kind of like seeing a different take on it.
Well, for me, I just want a Joker that's just like, it's the thrill of the gangster, but he's want to find his that person that he can keep on going. That's why I feel like Batman and Joker can't live without one another, and I feel like that is like a dynamic, and I feel like the Joker needs someone to get him to do bad things. That's something I feel like is necessary for the Joker film. But we'll see. I'm excited to see it. It looks great. I'll say it looks a billion times better than the new one that we got in Suicide Squad.
That's the one I was talking about. I guess you didn't.
Okay, so Unranked, you like the Suicide Squad one. What do you think of the new Joker that's out in the trailers?
I don't think I've seen too many of them.
He looks like Nurkish. If Nurkish was 20 years old.
We'll see. I don't know how to feel about it until the movie comes out.
I heard the working title for that movie is Nurkish Tonight. So they should have called it.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. Unfortunately.
They got so much wrong in that. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they got so much wrong in Suicide Squad though. Like the whole Joker and Harley situation was so bad. Like it was so far like out. Like they made it like a love story, and it's really just kind of it's not at all. Like it's more of a Stockholm syndrome type thing than it is a love story. There was just so much wrong in that.
Yeah, that's definitely my least favorite.
And her outfit. Ugh.
I definitely noticed an uptick in. I wish I could find someone find a relationship as good as Joker and Harley. Yes. The second that movie came out, and then everybody started sharing the clip of Joker throwing Harley Quinn out a window. No, you don't.
It's so bad, and you see like those memes that are like, "Oh, my Joker to my Harley." I'm like, no, you really is that what you really want? Let me tell you about what you want then. Oh, and her outfit is. I mean, I know most people do like it, but I wish they would have at least included her, like animated series outfit or something a little closer to what Harley actually.
They did very briefly.
Yeah, they had an Easter egg essentially.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I watched the movie twice because I thought it was bad.
Yeah, there's a brief moment where you see Joker and Harley doing that famous Alex Ross painting of him and Sue and her. And it's a cute little.
I remember that now.
It's pretty brief, but yeah, I remember that. What I thought was interesting is the scene where they all like think about what they want or whatever when they're facing Enchantress. Remember, they all have like their own dream of what they want things to be like, and Harley's is she wants to just be like a normal housewife. And I found it really interesting. For one thing, I found it I kind of liked it because I didn't expect that, but also I was wondering, like, did this movie get much of like a social justice backlash because they've got this like crazy independent woman, but deep down she just wants to be a housewife. Like, isn't that the anti-message for them?
Don't
And in
speak
addition
too
to that, they
loudly,
did have
that'll
some
be
other.
next.
Huh?
I said, don't speak too loudly. That'll be next.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't watch the whole movie because I was really expecting some kind of.
The answer to any question about is there social justice outrage about fill in the blank is always yes.
I don't. That's probably true. I don't remember any from that.
I remember.
Yeah,
okay.
that's the thing.
Yeah, because so they got to say, "Oh, Harley Quinn is really in a toxic relationship," which is true, and then that made them dunk on Suicide Squad for promoting a toxic relationship. See, so you can't reinterpret or reimagine the characters without literally endorsing domestic abuse.
Yeah, there's no winning with that. It's like if you show her.
But like her dream was for it to not be that way, for it to be nice and normal.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess you're right. They just didn't want to tangle with it, huh? Because what she'd go back to isn't good either.
I
don't know.
I've given up like trying to understand what the social justice critique is. I look at it like it's what is it? Fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The social justice critique is whatever it has to be for outrage to be maximized.
Yeah. It can never be the woman's fault. It's like the idea that Harley Quinn is somehow like responsible for all the terrible things that she's done, and that maybe even though she was horribly abused by the Joker, maybe she secretly kind of like wanted that, or at least thought that she wanted that. You cannot ever even remotely suggest that.
I'm sorry for taking over your stream to talk about social justice, but maybe like the best example I've seen of this recently is the Harry Potter outrage, where people are calling it racist for Nagini the snake to be an Asian woman because that makes an Asian woman a slave of Lord Voldemort, missing the point that Lord Voldemort's supposed to be a bad guy. So if Lord Voldemort has an Asian slave, that's not J.K. Rowling saying slavery's good, gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have noticed that too sometimes. Well, if they don't like a particular thing, they'll say, "Oh, your villain did a bad thing." It's like, well, yeah, that's why he's a bad guy. No, we're saying it's bad, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because in comics, especially, but in other mediums too, there's this long history of basically using the bad guy to say unsayable truths, or using anti-hero characters. Like Namor is a good example. Namor is one of these characters that was basically used to dunk on modern civilization, but it's okay to print that in the 1940s when you're at war with another country. It's okay to print these very fundamentally anti-American things because Namor is the bad guy. So of course he thinks that. But really it's the very left-wing author trying to sneak these ideas in to basically, to propagandize people. So there's a long history of that in publishing, and I feel like SJWs are so used to seeing that they just assume that anytime you see a bad guy, that it's some kind of secret way to try to get a different kind of message in. They're kind of like
maybe that's why they say all comics.
Yeah.
They say all comics are political, and I'm just like, what? Where? Who? When? Why? Where? That's why I love to post a picture from like, a cover from like 1950, and it's Superman using his breath to make the lemonade cold. Like, yeah, comics are always political, right? Like, or like Strange Adventures and their little army. It's like army men fighting a giant bug or something, or weird, like weird war stories and stuff. Like even stuff that could be political, like a war story, generally wasn't. It was more of a one-off or an occasional thing when they were political.
Yeah, and I know I posted this on Twitter like the other day that I finally discovered Scalp Hunter. It's some guy I'd never known before, which is weird.
Yeah, I was one of the few people who knew who that was, right, in your comments.
Yeah, but this half-white Indian guy that basically fought both his own kind and the white man in the Civil War era. And that one, the couple issues I read of that was absolutely Jerry Conway being like an SJW in the 1970s. Like that was very political and really woke. But then you're also talking about just the goofy stuff that Superman has done over the years. Or like you look at something like Warlord, which is just pure escapism, or something like that. It's like
I like political comics. I think they tell interesting stories, and it also could be realistic and very true on what's reality. And I feel like today's audience sometimes don't like that. They like to have, let's just say, escape all of that and just have fantasy storylines. That's it. And or should I say?
I think that's because
you're gone.
So much of our lives and media is saturated with politics already that, like, if I'm going to go and pay $4 to read 20 pages of something, like, I don't want it to be political. It's just, I think that's why a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. It's like paying money to get propagandized too. It's like who wants to deal with that? But
yeah, right or left. That's just not what I'm into.
Yeah.
I could go on Twitter if I want that.
Or go on the nightly comedy shows or something like that. Yeah, or or literally almost anything else.
Now, would you guys say a book or a movie like The Watchmen is political or not?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah,
definitely.
I would say The Dark Knight Returns is political, in my opinion.
Batman is Super Trump, who wants to drain the Gotham swamp.
I mean, he definitely almost played up to the point of Batman being like a fascist, but being like a necessary fascist in the face of anarchy. Like, fascism is an evil, but a lesser evil compared to anarchy.
Yeah.
Would that be like
I am tonight we are the law, I am the law. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, would that be like comedian's position too, or is his less just? I guess it'd be less just.
Comedian is just a thug. He doesn't have a position. It's
he's all about the. Yeah, I guess he just wants to hurt people at the end of the day, huh?
Yeah, it's like the U.S. government pays him to hurt people, so that's what he does. And he doesn't care about it.
Works for him.
Yeah. And then when you read like before Watchmen,
so I guess
they're all like that. But
so I guess political books can be good then, because I do like The Watchmen. It just depends on how well it's handled.
I think most people who talk about, I don't want politics in my comics, generally what I think they mean is I want to have some comics where I can just enjoy and escape from politics. And the thing I always say is, if you have heroes, there are going to be moral ideas, right? If the hero is going to do something heroic, you have to believe there's such a thing as, heroism, and you can't believe that there's no such thing as good and evil to make that work, right? And I don't know. I think that, there's a long history of people bringing their politics into comics, and I think that's always been laudable, even if I disagree with the politics. I think the mark of us today is we also have this attitude of, I don't know, like controlling every detail of everybody else's story. Like not only will I put my politics into my comic book, but all comic books must represent every little detail precisely as I say, or else you, the creator, are to be shamed for having represented something wrong.
Yeah. Someone in the chat is asking if, let's see, I don't know how to say his name. Something Legend says, did someone say fascism is better than anarchy?
Oh, I was being facetious, because in The Dark Knight Returns, it ends with Batman literally leading like a gang of thugs to take over the town and beat up people, right? And then he says, "I am the law. Tonight we are the law." So I'm in a tongue-in-cheek fashion, I'm saying that's Frank Miller saying that, that's bad. He literally has a guy say, "You're violating my constitutional rights." But the point is that we've been nuclear bombed and the world is descending into chaos. So you need that big, scary authority dude to take command so you don't get eaten by, the massive hordes of cannibals,
Yeah, I think they were in a different situation than what we have, huh? It's like during, they always get after Abraham Lincoln because he suspended habeas corpus. And it's like, do you understand DC could have fallen to the rebels at any moment? Baltimore had already, was rebelling, and they'd cut the telegraphs and railroads to the city. Maybe Lincoln would stop a few printing presses from like promoting successionist like activities within the city. Like, I don't know. The situation's going to vary from time to time. Maybe that was a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
Civil War politics, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Civil War. That was kind of one of my big things I was into before comics, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You should do some videos on that. Remember? Like,
oh yeah.
Civil War Fans United.
Get 5 views instead of 50. I'm trying to increase my views. It'll have to be a Civil War in Fortnite or something.
I think the audience to go for are like the kids who are going to YouTube to help them do their homework. Like that's what Crash Course is. They get 1 million views a video, and it's just really basic kind of Wikipedia level information on historical movements. I don't know. I'm always paying attention to like different YouTubers to kind of get a feel for the marketplace on YouTube. But you could, if you love the Civil War, you know, you could do something with that.
Maybe. Something to think about.
Did you ever read the Elseworlds adaptation of Steel, where it was like Steel but set during the Civil War?
Don't think so.
It was cheesy, you know. It was really well drawn. So I remember it was the only comic book I had as a kid with Steel in it. So I was interested in it because he was like a big giant black guy who's like super strong and fights horses. That was cool. But that was my introduction to the Civil War.
Wasn't Superman in that too, or was that a different one? Because there is like a Superman in the Civil War.
Yeah, they did a blue and gray one. Yeah, I think it was called Blue and Gray.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it's got Superman. He's picking up a cannon and he's going to throw it. I love it.
That's a completely different one, but yeah, similar Elseworld book series. Gosh, that's got to come back.
Same kind of idea.
Mm.
Yeah, we need more Elseworld stuff. I guess they're still building the main universe. Like, they don't even have a Shazam comic yet. They don't want to do Elseworlds.
Well, yeah, you just did a video about that, right? About how the Shazam thing got delayed with Gary Frank and Jeff Johns.
Yeah, a lot of the comics.
Yeah. Wait, how can Gary Frank? What? That doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't think Gary Frank's the artist on Shazam. No, that was Eaglesham.
Oh, Eaglesham. Okay.
Dale Eagleham or whatever. Yeah, that guy. And yeah, Jeff Johns again.
Oh, that guy?
I think Jeff Johns is to blame.
Wait, okay. Dale Eaglesham's the guy. I only know of him because he's that artist who freaked out and was talking about how he's surrounded by a storm of thousands of tweets. What's his involvement in Shazam?
He's doing
the artist. Series. But yeah,
okay.
He's got me blocked on Twitter.
Yeah, he tried to, talk to Diversity in Comics on Twitter, but like he didn't understand how Twitter worked.
Yeah.
It's like you don't talk to people on Twitter, you talk to the entire world on Twitter, and so anybody can join in.
Yeah, he should have messaged him if he wanted to do that.
Yeah, or emailed him or any one of a number of other ways. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
he is a good artist.
Yeah.
So he is, unfortunately, yeah, he is like a really good artist. He did that JSA series back in the like mid 2000s, early in there with Jeff Johns and Alex Ross on the covers.
I know he did some Green Lantern. I know he's a venerable artist. So when he was like, it was pretty embarrassing watching him being on Twitter and just pretending that he was being mobbed when it's like that's what happens when you go after a fairly popular Twitter account. You get their fans involved. It's like, how could you not get this? It's like
he called him a lynch mob. They were tweeting at him.
It's like if I tweet something at Gail Simone, I'm not going to just deal with Gail Simone. I'm going to deal with her 100,000 followers too. And it's like, so, but somehow he wasn't able to get that.
Yeah, have Aunt Gail explain Twitter to him. He sounds as bad as that other guy, the creator of Black Lightning. Do you remember when he was tangling with people.
Yeah, he did the
remember
same thing.
He posted like a yard sale, right, on Twitter. He had a pinned tweet on his Twitter page that had his home address for a yard sale, and it had already come and gone. And all that people were doing in the community was saying, hey, maybe you should take that down. Like, it's already come and gone. Like, you're doxing yourself. And he turned it around to accuse the community of doxing and threatening him and stuff. And it's just like, dude, I know you're an old man, but really a pinned tweet with your home address, like, and you're a public figure. Like, holy crap. And he was all indignant about it, too.
Yeah. What happened to the stranger danger stuff where we were afraid that every single person we were talking to on the internet was secretly a pedophile, right? And you weren't supposed to, put your, no shade to comic book 1992 here, but you weren't supposed to put your birth year in your username even, because that told people how old you were. Now we're just putting everything out there.
I call that privacy. Sorry about that. And I call that privacy. That's just how I do things. I don't like to have the only personal friends of mine know my age and all that crap.
So it's
but your birthday's in your name.
Unless there was 1,991 comic book fan.
Comic book fans.
Maybe it's.
Well, I just let's just say it's a year that I was born, but I'm not going to put out the date I was born. So
your exact birthday. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, gang. Hate to break it to you. I was born in the year 1 AD. That's what the number 1 is for.
Nice.
Damn, you're old. Keep trying to kill the kids.
Jesus was a swell guy. I'm not too big on Nero, though.
Hello, kids. He's got the skateboard over his shoulder.
I will have you know the comic books were much better when we were chiseling them into the side of the Colosseum.
Wait a minute. Fate Apocrypha told me that Nero was actually an okay person. You saying it lied to me?
Okay, I don't know that reference, but I'd be interested in it.
Okay. So the Fate series, it's an anime. There's like 5 series now, and it basically reimagines historical figures in like a modern day anime style.
Huh.
And one of the tropes of it is that it's not afraid to gender swap people.
Oh gosh.
So, and a lot of times you don't find out who the people are until later in the season. So the last one they did, Fate Encore, the main character is paired up with this historical figure, and he knows it's somebody, but he doesn't know who. And it's this really bubbly blonde girl with big boobs and and a dress that manages to show up both her boobs and her butt. And she's just she's just like fighting people, and she's very eager to please him, and she's very just happy. And then you find out that it's Emperor Claudius Nero. It's very weird, and the whole show is like that.
Rule 63 strikes again.
I guess so, yeah. That same series also had Sir Francis Drake as a woman, and yeah.
That's anime for you.
Yeah, it's the only anime that I care about. I don't really watch anime, but I have watched all of that one.
Huh.
Some anime is good. I just haven't kept up with it in a long time. But
You really
back
should.
in the day, I used to watch.
You should. It's a lot of originality in today's day and age, unlike Hollywood or any other show or studio has done, really. I find anime a lot original than movies or TV shows.
I think it's a hungry culture. Like, it's a culture where, there are people who want to get stinking rich making comic books. And that was what Jack Kirby's generation was. So every one of these people are in like a really, tough environment, like sink or swim. The readers get to decide if your comic series lives or dies, right? So that's a good atmosphere for producing success.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of the little bit of anime that I've watched, which I don't want. Yeah. And that's what I've gotten too. That it is very creative, but Sometimes it just gets
Yeah.
weird, but it is still very, thinking a lot of outside the box, not even recognizing that there is a box sometimes.
Sure, seems to sell better than the comics right now, though.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's so, and there's a
That
whole
might
bunch
just
of,
be the price point.
that's part of it. Part of it is that manga tends to be, it's a complete story, so you don't have to catch yourself up on 70 plus years of continuity.
It's beginning, middle, and end. Like going, like you said, like it's beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, you there's part of it too. It's like there's not the exposure for it, so you don't have to like if you've seen the Superman cartoon from the 90s, that encompasses a lot of Superman comics. Obviously, not all of them, but that gets you a feel for the character really well.
Yeah.
So if you've seen the Superman cartoon and you thought, yeah, that's okay, but you weren't like super interested in it, why would you stick with it? Whereas with every manga or anime, it's like its own thing entirely and has a totally different feel from, a lot of the other ones, even sort of similar Japanese media. So, so there's like an originality to it, I guess. But
does Nerdette like any anime or manga, or have we completely gone off base?
I don't read it at all.
Nothing. Okay, like not even like I watched Sailor Moon as a kid. Not that.
Okay, I watched Sailor Moon when I was young. Yeah,
All right.
but
That's not my favorite.
About my extent.
Okay. What genres do you like the most?
Of what?
Of anything. Like if you had to pick like one genre of thing to watch for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Superheroes.
All right.
That's pretty easy.
All right. So you probably dig
That works.
like shonen, right? Like the action boys stuff that's all about like superpowered people beating each other up. And like a lot of them will follow a similar I think that a lot of them were influenced by Western comics growing up because they kind of like it's all about fighting, So there'd probably be something for you, that you could get that would be more your jam.
Right. Yeah, and that makes sense. I just never got into it, and I know a lot of people, like even like My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I started to look at that on Comixology. And I'm just like, I've got so much other stuff to read that I enjoy more.
Yeah.
I just never really got into it too much.
So does the style off-put you, or have you like tried to read? Okay.
No, not at all. I've just always liked Batman and the characters associated with Batman. And then I got, when I got a little bit older, I started reading more into the DC comics.
Yeah.
And I was into X-Men for a while. So I've always just kind of stuck with that genre and never really branched out. I'm very, very much so a creature of habit.
Yeah. You like, it makes sense to have like a few things that are your favorite thing. And then I'm kind of like my channel is all about like, I have no idea what I'm going to read next because I'm always like I'm savoring like different flavors of everything, trying to find something I'm really interested in too. So I don't know. I would say My Hero Academia is definitely a good one if you just dig the Western superhero, because I can tell that I think it's Horikoshi. Is that it? Anyone helping me here? Too many weeb names, but I know that he really appreciates like the Jack Kirby style, and
right.
I think it's one of the best origin stories I've read since like Peter Parker, where like there's actually some depth and like some sense of responsibility on the character.
That might actually be worth checking out. Like I said, I have a lot of it on because I have the unlimited and you can just read whatever. Yeah. And I'll pick it up and then I'm like, no, I've got some Ninjak I can read that's, that I'd rather be interested in. I'm really bad about sticking to the same stuff.
Well, since you're a big Batman buff, you gotta check out the Bat manga, and then look. I might do a series on this, but you got to check out who inspired it, because you'll like hold them up and it's like panel for panel. Oh, this is where the Japanese artist was looking at the Western comic, and then they changed a few ideas, and then they made this action sequence a little bit bigger and over the top. It's really just fascinating as a Batman fan to see that different spin on the character. And they've got a brand new Justice League manga that's coming out like right now, I think. And that really has a lot of love for the DC characters. And it's got like it's almost like Marvin, the little kid, like the little boy from Super Friends, who's like the viewpoint character. So it's like some Japanese kid joins the Justice League and he gets to learn all about the Justice League. But I dig it.
Oh, that actually doesn't sound bad. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just agreeing. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Okay, I'll tweet those at you later so you can follow up, because I if you love Batman, that's probably like a good gateway drug for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, for me, if outside of DC and Marvel, it's always the Power Rangers comics. I'm a massive Power Rangers fan. Or Transformers, or Spawn. It's Spawn.
Oh, okay.
Spawn in particular, I find him more fascinating character and his universe and all that good stuff. And there's other books like Witchblade that I do like a lot. It's just like, I mean, and I don't see them much talking about, so I talked about them mostly on my channel, but not much. But it's just right now. Cool. But I'm doing Let's Play. But I if you want to know, like, sorry about that.
That sounds cool. Yeah,
they're great books. Let's say if you want to see something fresh and new and just getting, and let's say burn out of Marvel and DC, go track out Spawn and the Power Rangers comics, and also Transformers. Recommendation on them.
I believe it. You know, I read that Power Rangers Justice League crossover from like last year. I thought that was all right. They kept delaying it though because it's a DC comic, of course. So they did like 4 issues and that was delayed. I don't know if they finished it now. That's where I fell off though. But it was all right. Like they had Brainiac and the Power Rangers supervillain work together, and the Justice League and the Power Rangers had to work together. I mean, it was a real straightforward little story, but Stephen Byrne did the art on it, and he has this really good style I like. So I don't know. I thought it was worth it. But I think that's my extent on like Power Rangers as far as reading them. I know Yellow Flash loves them though, so you know that's a pretty good endorsement for Power Rangers, I think.
I don't know. I haven't read any of those, but
yeah, me either. I watched them when I was a kid. Used to play Pink Ranger, but that's about as much extent as goes with Power Rangers.
I got Power Rangers was forbidden in my household when I was a little kid.
It works.
I was banned from watching it because I would kick my sisters.
Wow! So you actually did something. I was innocent.
Yeah.
You got banned and you didn't even have to do anything first.
I got banned watching Justice League because there was a Halloween episode where they went into hell or something. No, not Justice League. Super Friends. Super Friends. The one where they're not even allowed to hit people. I got banned from that for a year.
Wow. I thought my parents were strict. There was a lot of shows I didn't get to watch, though.
Lyle Convoy talks about this. He's that YouTuber who covers Thundercats in, like 80s properties, because like Satanism was a big, like fear in the late 80s or early 90s.
Right. What was?
Satanism. People were afraid of like satanic influences and everything.
Yeah, there was a panic, right?
Yeah, a
moral panic. Yeah. Old Styx Hexenhammer is always talking about that. I think they traumatized him back when it was happening. I think they were chasing him around with torches. You ever watch his channel?
I know of Styx and Hammer. I've just never sat down. Like one of the rationalist skeptics types. They've got to like have a really good voice, and they've got to talk about like something that I'm 100% interested in for me to sit down and watch them. Otherwise, I don't pay any attention to them.
I don't know. Would you call him a skeptic?
Is he?
What? I don't know.
I thought he was like a hardcore libertarian type.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say so, because I watch his channel all the time, and he's very libertarian.
Okay. Is he in kind of like that, like broad, like I don't know, like Sargon of Akkad, Tildir, armored skeptic family?
Sort of. I know he was in that famous live stream with Sargon and Richard Spencer.
Oh yeah.
He actually made a better case than Sargon did about why white nationalism is stupid.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah, he debated Richard Spencer on that stream. And the really screwed up thing is the
What's that?
media and everyone was reporting it that Styx was a white nationalist because
Yeah.
he was on a stream with Richard Spencer, despite the fact he was debating against him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Because even talking to white nationalists means that you in some way support them.
But if
Yeah.
no one ever talks to them, then how do? Oh my goodness! It's like they don't understand how a democratic republic works.
You're supposed to complain about the thing without ever explaining what the thing is and why you hate it. If you explain what it is and why it's bad, you're platforming the evil thing, and you're evil too.
Well, that's true. I've heard that argument about platforming. It wasn't even his channel, but yeah, they won't cut him any slack on that one.
Well, no,
Great.
like all the YouTubers that were involved in that was what gave the Wall Street Journal the ammunition they needed, was that theory about platforming. It's like just simply,
wasn't even anything anyone on the channel said. It was what their super chats were saying, right?
I think so, yeah. But even then, it's like,
Oh, they did some
But if you wanted,
they did some graph like points and line from point to point saying, well, look, if you draw a line from this guy to this guy who had a conversation, and then you draw a line from this guy to this guy, look, you can put all these famous YouTube and podcast personalities up there with the alt-right.
Right.
It was literally like the crazy meme of the guy with the red lines all over his wall. And then, but then of course, all of these guys are, haven't said anything about like Louis Farrakhan. Farrakhan's been like a male chauvinist pig since 1960. And yesterday, people noticed, hey, he seems to have been saying anti-Semitic things for a long time. How about that?
Yeah.
Maybe we should stop appearing on stages with him.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. He can get away with saying things that would get any YouTube channel probably just straight up deleted.
It's
no appeal. Just yeah. There's a bias.
They did take away
the whole. Oh, go ahead.
Well, they did take away his blue checkmark on Twitter, which oddly enough, like, it's kind of dumb because it confirms what a lot of people have been theorizing, that the blue checkmark is an endorsement of that view.
Yeah.
So than just simply trying to prove that this person is who they say they are.
Yeah.
It's like they were trying to do something to virtue signal, and they confirmed one of the worst theories about themselves. Go figure. But what were you saying, DC?
I don't remember exactly. Just the whole community there is kind of interesting, like the skeptics and then the internet blood sport people, I guess, on the other side. And their kind of ongoing feud. I find that interesting.
Too much, but it just seems dumb to me because, like, you're talking about the whole Medicare Sargon thing?
Yeah. Yeah, precisely.
It's like Medicare's kind of dumb because Sargon is right. He could use his platform to actually spread a message and to actually help politically organize. But Sargon also claims that he doesn't care about any of this stuff. So it's like, why does he keep appearing on these people's channels if he doesn't care about it? It just makes him look really smug and arrogant.
Medicare gave up on trying to change people's minds, and he became someone who just relishes in the chaos. I've said this maybe a few times, but I think that Medicare versus Sargon is the thing all of us in Comicsgate should have paid attention to, even if we weren't interested in Gamergate, because they kind of summarize the problem with Gamergate is that Sargon is earnest and wants to help fix things, but he's a little bit too full of himself. And Medicare has this great, charismatic, really salty, nasty sense of humor, right? But but he's completely disengaged from doing anything than just watching people blow up and laughing about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't see why he should have to be the leader if he doesn't want to be, though.
I don't think he needs to be the leader of a movement, but just with when he made fun of Sargon, his point was, oh, SJWs, that's so passe. Let's make fun of furries on DeviantArt. The thing that made Medicare big was he was doing videos about, I'm going to turn this stream into a social justice stream if it kills me. But Medicare would, talk about, insane people on the college campus. And for people like me, we'd say, wow, someone's finally talking about this. And we check out, Mr. Medicare's videos. And that now he's just like, tells a joke whenever people get offended over something on the internet, It's just really different than what built him up in the first place. And I think he didn't like the idea that he was building up an audience. I think he always just wanted to be like a guy who was laughing at people.
Yeah, that's what I get too. He was like famous in spite of himself.
He deleted his channels on purpose to try to fight that. Yeah.
He'll have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and just delete his videos and shit. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't even turn on super chats. He'll have like 50,000 people watching sometimes. I don't know. I find it to be really entertaining, though. I don't know. I kind of like Medicare, but I could see why a lot of people wouldn't. Well, plus two, like, I don't know. Sargon does seem a little full of himself, don't you think?
Yeah.
We're the liberalists.
Well, yeah. First they were the skeptics. Now they're the liberalists. What does that even mean?
It's got the word. It's got the ist at the end, and it's not liberal. I guess.
Supposedly,
I don't know. It's hard.
Supposedly, it's actually a legacy name. Like, the Liberalist Party allegedly started in like the early 19th century, and he's just picking the name back up.
Oh,
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
I don't know. And then he was like UKIP. Wait, is he still involved in UKIP, or is that just like the flavor of the month?
I don't know.
British politics, and we lost someone with British politics. Yes.
Damn it.
I think he is. I don't know. I think he is, but since Article 13 still went forward, he kind of was like, that was his power play, and he didn't stop it. So
yeah.
You see, that is one thing I agree with him on, though. Like, Europe does need to chill on hurting free speech. Like, he does make some good points about that. I think it's just, at the end of the day, people either like the way Sargon talks or they like the way Medicare talks, and they both have a very different speaking style and arguing style. Because to me, when Sargon's talking to someone and he just, smugly chuckles after every point he makes and all this stuff. But I could see the other argument too. It's just like a personal preference thing. The thing I think most people can agree on, though, is just supremely entertaining. Like the clip shows or the live shows where it's any of those cast of characters and they're all arguing. It's just, I don't know. I've been on that, kind of listening in on all that stuff lately. Although since the kill stream got kicked off YouTube, it's been, I don't know, not as much because
they're on that
follow
other
it over
website,
to
right? Yeah,
stream.me.
Yeah, I am.
Charger Comics says, guys, escapist topics. We will talk about the historical roots of Brexit, and you will like it.
Well, we could talk about Charger. Charger's book looks pretty cool. He's got an Indiegogo.
Oh yes, with Mr. Marvel drawing, right? Yep. Okay, Charger, I need to have you on. Okay.
Yeah, you should go. He's going to be on my stream sometime, but yeah, definitely go on Marmaduke's channel.
Good for you. All right, yeah, we got to move the needle for Charger. You got a free shout out. Good.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I even knew about that one.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. He was on Sporkman's stream the other day.
Oh, okay.
That broke my heart. They didn't make their budget in time. I think. Have you guys heard if they're going to do anything like new with that? If they're going to try again and maybe like rebudget or something?
I think they're going to try a more like direct release type of thing.
All right.
Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, Sporkman. They've been part of the community since basically day one.
Yeah.
That was pretty heartbreaking.
We'll move the needle next time.
Yeah, that was really disappointing because Sporkman was one of the ones I was more involved with than normal, and yeah, they didn't make it. But from what I understand, they're going to try and get a publisher.
Yeah, which is the old way of doing it, which is it's not the best way, but it has been proven to work. So.
And I put a link to the Charger Indiegogo in the chat if people want to check it out. Scroll through and look at the art. It's pretty good. And I actually talked to him a little bit. I was in the chat when he was on Sporkman's stream, and he was saying it had a real DC feel, and I kind of get that. Looks like he could be a DC hero. So pretty cool. fun project to support. Another good one.
Yeah. Maybe that should be the ultimate goal of Comicsgate, is to try to get one of these properties made into a movie.
Huh. Declare victory. I'd be cool with declaring victory if we did that.
It's like, you're stupid. We got a movie before Kamala Khan or something.
Has to be like Jawbreakers or Cyberfrog to really like rub it in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay if it's one of the lesser ones. To be honest, I'm okay with any independent comics property. You know, that's not part of the Portland comics mafia, but busting into the mainstream.
Yeah, I feel like
that'd be cool.
I'll introduce you to all the Deltarune kids if you come on my show.
I know Jawbreakers. DNC flat out said it was made to be turned into a movie that you could hypothetically film for like $100,000.
Huh.
Which is incredibly cheap, but
yeah, that is crazy cheap.
Let's do it. People crowdfund movies. Let's do it.
Yeah, they crowdfund movies that don't get made sometimes too.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh shoot! What did I just do? Speaking of movies,
yeah.
I don't know why I'm going with that. So here's a question: which is worse, Batman Forever or Batman and Robin? Question for the panel here.
Wow, that's a tough one.
I get a laugh out of Batman and Robin. Like they did a Bat credit card joke, you know.
It has infinite credit.
If they had made it like a kid's Adam West homage, I think it would have been a perfect Batman movie. But they made an edgy teenage Adam West gay camp mashup that doesn't really work for either target audience, you know?
Yeah. Not really kid friendly, not really adult friendly, not really anything friendly.
Yeah, I think, gosh, I don't know. It's so tough. Like they both have so many flaws. Like Batman and Robin, you got the bat nipples and the zooming in on their asses and stuff. But then even the Batgirl and the men both, it was just like, what is this gratuitous for no reason? Yeah. And then the other one, Batman Forever, like you had the Riddler and Two-Face both laughing like they're the Joker through the whole movie. It was just like,
yeah,
you guys don't know what you're doing. You got good actors, and it worked better with the Riddler, but man,
yeah,
Tommy Lee Jones, what were you thinking trying to out Jim Carrey? It was pure cringe. So honestly, I guess Batman Forever maybe is worse. I do like how Arnold looks in the other one. He's got a cool look.
Even if he's just saying one dumb pun after another.
They gave him nothing but puns to say this is true.
I think there are parts of Batman Forever that are like legitimately good though. Like when they kind of recount his origin and recount like the Jungian dream that he had about the bat coming to get him. I actually think that's legitimately good. And some of the stuff with Nicole Kidman, not a lot because her character's kind of ridiculous, but some of that stuff is kind of interesting.
Remember when like Poison Ivy comes up to interview them and they're in the weird like museum or whatever and she just flips out? I don't know. Like that, a lot of it didn't make sense. And that was another one where Bane was a numbskull.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I might have to make that one worse now that I think about it because Bane is my boy and making him stupid like that was not acceptable. He looked okay. I mean, they got a big tough guy. I think he was a wrestler. I call him Jeep or something was his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty famous.
That I don't know, but
yeah. But oh well.
What about you, Nerdette? Which one's worse?
Batman Forever, for sure. I you know what though? When I was little when I watched Batman and Robin, and I liked it. I didn't know better because I liked it. So looking back now, I'm like, it reminds me of my childhood, and it's like got that nostalgia thing to it. So I always liked it. I don't know. It's so bad, it's good.
Yeah, I feel like for a while too, for like 10 years, that was the last depiction of Batman on screen.
That's not a good depiction to leave with people.
So that was it. That left a bad taste in people's mouths. It's like, this is the last Batman movie we're ever gonna get, really? But then the Dark Knight trilogy happens, and that's a
People
1,000
were
times
blown
better.
away.
So it's a little bit easier now to look back on Batman Forever. It's like, it was kind of cute for what it was. I mean, if you take it seriously, you're gonna be left. That's not a good idea at all. But if you try to just look at it, that it was just this elongated toy commercial, essentially.
All right, wait. I'm sorry. Batman Forever is the one that has Batgirl in it, right?
No,
Batman and Robin has Batgirl.
All right. I thought I was getting my movies backwards. Okay.
Now, Batman Forever had Nicole Kidman playing kind of like a low-rent Harley Quinn before she went crazy.
Old, shoot. I was just someone else. What was I going to say? I can't remember now. Something about Harley Quinn, though.
I don't know.
I always liked seeing Poison Ivy, too, because she's still one of my favorite characters, and that was the first live rendition I ever seen of her. So I'm like, oh my god, she's nerdy, and then she becomes beautiful. I loved it. I still do. It's so cheesy, but it's so good.
That's the only live action rendition of her, isn't it?
Gotham.
Yeah, she's on Gotham, and she's like Ivy Pepper for a while, and she's real little. And then by the 5th season, she went from 10 to 25. So it makes no sense, but they did good.
I do think Uma Thurman looked pretty good in that movie, too.
She did, too. She did halfway decent for what they gave her.
Yeah. That was a weird one. They were kind of ambitious having all the villains. They just could have utilized it better.
And then, of course, famously, Billy D. Williams got screwed out of being Harvey Dent. But
at least he got to be in the Lego Batman movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you look at the Lego of her, Two-Face, it does look like him, and he voiced him too. So it was kind of.
Oh, they love the Lego movies. I love how they do fan service for older fans.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's like so much fan service. It's part of why I liked it so much. Well, I said, but in last year, Lego Batman was the best DC movie in 2017.
Yeah, it was like they had a little gay, very effeminate Robin, and it worked because then it became Batman's got to learn to be a good dad story. It's great.
I wouldn't say he was effeminate, would you?
Oh, they did the whole thing of him strutting his stuff in his little green spandex and everything.
I guess so. I don't know.
Plus, they actually got the Joker-Batman relationship pretty well done compared to a lot of live-action stuff.
Huh. Did it outperform Batman v Superman on Rotten Tomatoes?
Sure.
I'm probably, yeah.
There's no way it didn't. PBS got Razzies and stuff. The critics hated it.
Yeah. It's so weird because you can see what they're going for too. Zack Snyder has talked about what he was going for, and he basically saw Superman as God. And you can see that in the movie. And he basically saw and for Man of Steel, he talks about how he wanted it to be a modern epic. Because in old epics, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, for example, how epic it was partially determined by just the sheer body count. Like in the Epic of Gilgamesh, there's a part where there's this creature called the Bull of Heaven, and it descends down on the city of Uruk, and it kills 300 people and destroys a whole bunch of buildings.
Yeah.
Until Gilgamesh and his friend are able to bring it down. And so when you look at Man of Steel, and Metropolis gets completely destroyed, that's kind of what he's getting at. That he's trying to make this epic story in the old style, but people don't associate Superman with that. So he kind of just inserted his own version of Superman and what he wanted it to be, and he kind of really just misread how people actually see the character.
Superman has this mythos behind them, but if you have to love the Boy Scout character, right?
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, he's a Boy Scout." I love the Boy Scout Superman. That's what makes him kind of fun for me. And you can't lose that part of him.
Yeah.
Corn-fed.
So when an entire city gets destroyed on his watch, actually 2 cities, because Smallville gets totally wrecked as well, that it just looks really bad. It's like, why isn't he doing more to help these people? It's like,
It's a bad look.
yeah. And then for Batman v Superman, they tried to fix some of that while still going for this like allegory, and it just, I don't know, it didn't work. And then just the idea that Batman and Superman's introduction to each other is trying to beat the other one to death. It's like, once again, it just feels really grimy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like they took The Dark Knight Returns and The Death of Superman and just smashed them together
Yeah.
and called it a movie.
Poorly though.
Well, yeah, The Wreckage didn't work out as good as either of those comics.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
You took like 4 different stories and then smashed them all together and didn't get any of them.
Yeah, and they had to introduce Cyborg and everyone else too, and just kind of shoehorn them in there.
Yeah.
And a lot of those scenes, like with Cyborg, were cut too. You see a lot of those in the trailers. Most of his scenes were cut, and I thought he was one of the better actors.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really surprising. I was kind of expecting him to be nobody, and then he actually is one of the best things. And then, like the kid who plays the Flash, I thought, oh, they got the TV show Flash, right? Obviously they're gonna get this right, and they got it completely 100% wrong.
Yeah, like I like the idea of sort of neurotic characters who have a kind of personality problem but are heroes, but they can't be annoying. Like the idea of the Flash being socially awkward because people are too slow for him, that is brilliant. But they made him like an awkward, oh, he's so random, kids. Haha.
Yeah.
It's too obvious he's the comic relief character.
Yeah, I feel like that's where a lot of the Joss Whedon influence comes in, with him specifically. Because like he's not like that in Suicide Squad. For the 5 seconds you see him, he's not like that.
Yeah.
And then in the Justice League movie, he just sucks.
Yeah, Flash is probably the weakest point in that movie.
He's just such a. Ugh.
I liked the Wonder Woman stopping the terrorist scene, though. It's probably my favorite part.
Definitely.
That felt like a different movie, but it was really good.
I mean, Gal Gadot just has charisma, right? Like she has the charisma to go on stage. She's beautiful. Her hair's billowing in the wind, and that's a big part of the superhero appeal is that they look cool.
Yeah. She fits the part really well.
And the fact that she's about as close as you're going to get to a real life Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Beauty pageant winner that's also was in the IDF. Yeah.
Yep.
See, I thought that was cool too, because she's probably more inclined to know how to do the action scenes in a realistic way if she's been trained in whatever basic training, I guess.
Yeah, Krav Maga. And supposedly she did a lot of physical work for BVS and the Wonder Woman movie, like looking into like capoeira and stuff like that.
What is that? Some obscure martial art?
You ever play Tekken?
Oh, I've played it, but I don't know all the martial arts.
You remember Eddie Gordo, the black dude that jumped around?
Okay, it's that.
Yeah, it's a Brazilian martial art that is half dancing, half martial arts.
Oh, good grief! Okay.
Yeah, it looks fake as hell, but it's real. I don't know, like you don't really see her do too much of that in the movie, but supposedly she studied it as part of her training for it.
To look a little bit more graceful, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
That's interesting.
It's one of those things. I have no clue how people do it, but then again, I don't know how they do breakdancing either. It's very similar, but but when does her 1984? When does that one come out?
Next year, I think.
I think it's next summer, isn't it?
I believe so. It might have gotten moved back to 2020, though, actually. Let me double check.
Oh, no.
Because this year's Aquaman, next year's Shazam, and then the year after that should be Wonder Woman 84.
Just like the original comics did not have any continuity between them. That kind of got grandfathered in as time went on. And I feel like if they did the movies, it's in June of next year?
June 2020.
No.
Wow. They really pushed it back.
Yeah. I'd heard about that because yeah, they want to do one a year, I think. That's why it's so weird to me. There's all this crap in production right now. Like, when is it going to come out? 2024? Remember when they were talking about a Cyborg movie for 2020?
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Well, yeah, there's supposed to be a Flash movie and a Cyborg movie back before BVS came out. So that's why when they're talking about all this stuff like Blue Beetle and, you know, Birds of Prey and stuff, yeah, even if they throw a couple $1 million into production, it doesn't mean it's ever going to come out. I mean, it might, but at the same time, it might not.
Right. I don't think Blue Beetle could be a starring character.
No,
I don't either.
Stupid.
He's a good supporting character, but
yeah, make a Teen Titans movie and put Raven and Starfire and Beast Boy in the front, and then you can have Blue Beetle too. Like,
or they could make a JLI movie. That'd be pretty dope. They probably won't, but
yeah, you could have Mr. Miracle then too, right?
Yeah, there was like probably like 40 characters in JLI altogether.
So that, yeah, you could really do whatever you wanted then.
Yeah. You'd have Booster Gold, Guy Gardner, Ted Cord. Who else was in it? Fire and Ice. Yeah. Martian Manhunter. Batman was in it. There you go. He quit like after the first volume, but he was still in it.
Was he like, I'm quitting your 2-bit Justice League and forming my own team, and started the Outsiders?
That might have been it. I don't remember.
That was when he quit the regular Justice League. That's what it says. He says that on the cover, and he's got the Outsiders with him, and the Justice League's just like, oh, can't believe it. Oh, the Outsiders. I can't wait. I guess I have to wait, but
yeah, they will make you wait.
They will, for sure.
And then I remember, I know they were years ago, like after the New 52 started, they were talking about doing a Justice League Dark movie, and they've released concept art from at least one of the versions of the production of that, and it all looked terrible actually, but they were trying, and then once again, it's just been caught in developmental hell. One of those things that could work out really well if you do it right, and they just don't know what they're doing. Just keep doing one different thing after another.
Yeah.
And that,
kind of a cycle, I guess.
What if they made the Blue Beetle? You could make it into a hybrid with a Green Lantern movie.
Oh, it's because they're both spacefarers.
Yeah, and Jeff Johns retconned it so that the Scarab was made to be an anti-Green Lantern weapon.
Huh.
That the Reach created them to try to fight the Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
They had designs on universal domination. And so, like, anytime Jamie Reyes is around a Green Lantern, the Scarab is, like, screaming at him to, like, go kill that guy. And Jamie's like, no, that guy's our friend. We can't do that.
Yeah, that's a good concept.
Don't know.
Wouldn't mind a Green Lantern movie if they did it right.
Well, we've had a few-year break since the lame one. And, you know, it was stupid. It was a stupid fun movie, right? And you can't build a like a mega franchise off of a stupid fun movie. But that doesn't mean you can't come back and try again.
Yeah. Maybe not do Hal Jordan, do one of the other ones. Like the best one, Guy Gardner.
Nine Fingers is getting excited right now as we speak.
Guy Gardner is. They could do. You know what? They could do something kind of risky and do a Jessica Cruz / Simon Baz movie.
That's smart.
Like people really seem to like Jessica. I don't really care much about it one way or another, but there seems to be a genuine grassroots appreciation for her that a lot of new creations over the past couple years have not had. So I don't know. Maybe they could try that.
I love Jessica. I think that would work out good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Jamie Reyes movie.
Okay, so sell me on Jessica. What's the point of the character?
I like her because at least when she started off, she was such a hot mess. that she was very relatable. She had a lot of flaws. She had a lot of issues going on. She kind of had that whole redemption within her character and has gotten to the point where she's able to function normally. You know, her agoraphobia is gone. There's a lot of good qualities to her that I kind of saw in my, like, I related to her a lot as far as her like anxieties and issues. So I think she's very relatable and very redeemable as far as a character went.
Hey, that's a good sales pitch.
Yeah, it'd make for an interesting movie, I think.
Yeah, there's something weird about her ring, right? It's not a normal.
Yeah, it's got evil in it.
Is it the one from Earth 3 or something?
I don't know too much about it, but in the last Justice League War, I read, or no, I'm sorry, Darkseid War, I read Grail like grabbed her, and there was a bunch of evil like stuff in her ring that came out of it. So the ring doesn't work as well, and it's been messing with her, I guess.
So yeah, that's be kind of weird. She like just, unlike the normal one where he gets assigned to them, she just sort of like stumbles on this thing. There's a whole movie right there, but
yeah, it could be real interesting.
But instead, they'll make one about Blue Beetle, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
Blue Beetle.
Jamie Reyes has had numerous solo series, and none of them make it past like 15 issues.
I like his character, but I only like him. You know, I like his in Injustice. He was really good. He did a lot of, you know, he had a lot of good interactions, but that was also with the Titans. So I don't like him as a solo character. He's not a solo character to me.
He's a young up and coming superhero where what did I read? I read some of the series from like 2016 that got canceled. And I got introduced to him through Batman Brave and the Bold, right? Where they say, okay, he's like a young superhero, but he doesn't have his mentor. Like the old Blue Beetle isn't there. So like Batman's got to step in, or he's got to learn from the Titans, right? So it's sort of like he's been denied the opportunity to be a sidekick to someone who could have been his mentor. So he's looking for a father figure, right? And that's a character that has a lot of growth potential, but he needs someone to come along and be his guide.
Yeah, and I like about the character how they use a lot of what I've noticed with him is they draw him back to his family a lot. So he has that like internal conflict where he wants to be home with his mom and dad and his sister, but he also wants to help. So he always is going through that like mental anguish of not being able to see them and not being able to be around them.
Yeah.
Which is relatable for younger kids, I guess. So maybe that's where they're going with it. I don't know. I think they're trying to relate to that really young audience.
I know Smallville had it so that he was sort of going to be mentored by Booster Gold.
Booster, yeah. Yeah, but Booster was kind of a jackass in that too. Yeah. I mean, Booster's kind of a jackass anyway, but...
Yeah. I know the back 2006, 2007 era, they were going to do a Justice League movie, and it ended up not happening because of the writer's strike, but it was going to be sort of based off of Infinite Crisis, and Maxwell Lord was going to be the main villain. And obviously Maxwell Lord killed the second Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, and that was how Jamie Reyes got in contact with the Scarab. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something there that he would come to after some kind of major crossover movie like that. Then again, it's not like they've had a lot of success with major crossover movies.
Right. I don't know. I just don't think he's a good leader as a character, especially with, you know, being so young, being so internally conflicted. I just don't see how that's going to work, but you never know what they'll come up with.
Yeah.
But then again, they're making the new Birds of Prey all about Harley Quinn, so...
Which makes no sense, yeah.
No.
Has she ever been a part of Birds of Prey?
No. I wouldn't say no. Not that I know of, none of that I've read. It's, I mean, you have like, or I don't even know if they've casted an Oracle yet. Like, if Oracle's not going to be in the movie, that is just so stupid.
Yeah. What is it? It's, they've cast Huntress and Who was the other one?
Oh, what's her name? She's real young. Cassandra Cain. So, and she's like 10. Like, I mean, I know it's a couple years out, but still, she's very, very young. Oh, and Black Canary, they cast her too.
Right. I think they cast an actual black woman.
Yeah. Like she's not like that biker bombshell look that makes no sense to me. Like Black Canary is supposed to be that bombshell. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense.
They could give her, because her hair is a wig, so if they have a black actress with a blonde wig, that could actually be kind of interesting.
And well, they used like they had the Black Canary like you were talking in Smallville. Like she did awesome with the wig and changing between the two personas, and it could work. It's very off to me. The whole thing is very off to me. Like what is it, like the Emancipation of Harley? I forget what the title is. It's just Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. Like that's the title of it. That is so silly.
Really? I thought it was Harley and the Birds of Prey.
No.
That would make too much sense.
No, it's like that's what it is. I did that video on it, and it's the Fantabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn. So I'm assuming they're going to try to get her away from Joker. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of with the Emancipation, but it's just going to be a mess.
Yeah. If it's not about the Civil War, it shouldn't have emancipation in the title. That's my policy.
Good segue. Back into your historical interest.
Back to what I know.
Okay, do Civil War themed comic books as your like warm up act, and then sneak in your Civil War geekery as you talk about the Civil War comics.
If I covered Marvel, that would be so much easier. Yeah.
Someone already did like it was like Ken Burns' Marvel Civil War, and like the style of the famous documentary. The violin softly playing in the background.
That's funny. See, that I could watch. I watched that, but when Ken Burns did his jazz or baseball ones that were just as long, oh my god, it's so boring.
2 hours is an appropriate length for the Civil War, not for jazz.
It's 2 hours per section. Those things. Wow. His whole documentaries are like 20 some hours.
Yeah,
it's a whole bunch of tapes. That was interesting stuff. I think they parody it on The Simpsons too. But then again, what haven't they parodied?
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Simpsons did it. But
it's true.
Have you ever seen the behind the scenes discussion of the Simpsons Did It episode? Where they were producing it and they just wanted to. At first, it was just going to be like a running gag, but they were actually going to have like another plot. And then as they were working on the like crazy, insane plot, someone told them, well, I think The Simpsons did something like that. And so finally they just gave up and said, okay, that's it. Simpsons Did It. It's going to be the theme of the entire episode.
That was a good one.
Why not? Wasn't there a joke? Oh, never mind. I can't remember, but I was trying to think. There's some comic book guideline about how he has all these Aquaman comics, and it's like the world is ending, and he takes solace in his Aquaman comics. But I can't remember the full line.
Oh, but Aquaman, I can't marry you. I do not have gills.
Oh yeah.
And then the nuke comes down. He says, "I have wasted my life." I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons either, so my older brother would actually like role play his favorite scenes from The Simpsons for me. So that's how I got all my Simpsons knowledge, was my older brother telling me his favorite parts of The Simpsons and doing all the characters.
Wow.
I thought I was sheltered. You were extremely sheltered.
Well, you know, I was like the first child, and so it's like the first child mom says like, "Oh, I can't have anything violent," and then by the time like my siblings are running around, then it's like whatever, we'll just put on whatever on the TV. But yeah, and then my older brother was kind of like the force for like persuading mom and dad that I was ready to watch stuff. Like he made a big deal out of the real Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and like convincing mom and dad that I was old enough to watch the movie Ninja Turtles. And my prized possession is I have not the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books, but the original graphic novel publications of them from like late 80s, early 90s that have been out of print for ages. I love my older brother. He was my introduction to the comics world. Okay, did you guys have anyone introduce you to comics who was kind of like your gateway, saying, "Hey, here's a comic book. Go check it out"?
Not really. I know. I remember I begged my mom. We were at like a dollar store or something, and somehow they had a Fantastic Four comic, and I was like, managed to get my mom to buy me it, and then it turned out it was really weird. But yeah, I don't really remember. I don't remember having anybody that. I think I mostly got into it, not a lot, for just because of the movies, honestly. But so I guess that was my gateway.
Yeah, I definitely remember. Go ahead.
And then I learned that the comics are better than the movies 95% of the time. But
Usually.
yeah. Anyway.
Oh yeah, just more independent. Didn't really get introduced. They were just around back then, and spinner racks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the good old days of the 90s, which doesn't seem like that long ago.
It wasn't. Don't lie. But
I remember like I was just gonna say, like, all the cool kids at the schoolyard would be like passing around comics, and I'd be like, what are they doing? So one time I had my dad buy me like a Batman comic, because you could get them in a lot more places then. So I went and sat with them, and ever since then, like, we would trade comics. We would finish one and pass it off to the next kid, or we would be able to, like, if somebody had X-Men and I wanted that, I'd give them my Batman, or like, it was just around way more then than it ever has been now.
So you're saying give away a bunch of cheap comics to kids. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there we go.
Make free comic book day every day.
Yeah, I would totally be okay with that.
Free comic book year.
There you go. I don't know if that's a sustainable business model, but it would be fun for a while.
Well, it's got to be volunteer based from like the fans, not from the industry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would work then.
Buy a 50-cent comic book, read it, donate it. Like, little free library is my favorite thing. When I was donating all my comic books, I was going to move, and I didn't want to haul 1,000 comic books. So I would read a cheap comic book, and I would put it in a little free library. And there are like hundreds and thousands of them. So you can just find one and stuff a whole bunch of comic books in it.
Yeah, I've seen those.
It's a great little system.
Damn, Charger, that's a heck of a story. looking the Charger Comics thing in the chat here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So many comics. Wow. How can there be? Yeah, it's how many like complete collections do you think really exist of stuff like that? Like, how many people do you think really have like every Batman comic?
Oh, probably 2 millionaires. That was what Don Rosa was for the Scrooge McDuck comics before he drew Scrooge McDuck comics. He was just a Scrooge McDuck enthusiast who had collected a complete, collection, and he'd like do the fanzines sometimes. And then he gets a chance to actually draw Scrooge McDuck comics, and it's like his dream job. He quits running his father's business to draw Scrooge McDuck. I love it so much.
Wow. that's
some of those Scrooge comics.
Sorry?
Are pretty. You still see those around sometimes.
They're still good, and they're starting to bring. I'm so sad. I hope IDW doesn't go belly up, because they're actually bringing over like good comic books from Italy that I'd never have gotten to read until they brought them over, and like that's giving you like the best of both worlds from an entire country. Like the country of Italy has produced a lot of good comic books. Let's bring over the very best Italian comics and introduce them to kids here. Like win-win.
Yeah. The same people that do, the Transformers and stuff like that. And then they also do these much more weird stuff.
IDW.
Yeah. I remember all I knew was that IDW did all these licensed stuff. And then I got reminded at one point that it's like, yeah, they did Lock and Key back in the day, which that was a big deal when that came out. And yeah, unfortunately now they're more or less stuck doing the licensed stuff, and that's seeing diminishing returns. And so I don't know. I didn't know about that Italian stuff though. I might have to try to find that.
100%. It's Uncle Scrooge, Disney Comics and Stories. What's the other one? For a while they did one about I think it's just Donald Duck. So like there's one for Scrooge and there's one for just Donald. That was my favorite. That was like the Italian superhero version of Donald Duck, who's like a big cultural phenomenon in Italy, and he almost never shows up here. That's what's inspired Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck, I think, started out kind of as they're going to do their own version of Papernik, and then it evolved into that. And you could see the influence, and that was one of my favorite comic books all year. What's it called? They localize it as Duck Avenger. His English name is Duck Avenger.
Huh.
That's awesome. I never knew that.
Oh, it's great. And it didn't sell well, so I actually was able to get like the whole run just on like the like back rack of my Graham Crackers comic book store. So go get it. You will not regret it.
I did like DuckTales when that was on.
Yeah.
But what was better, DuckTales or Rescue Rangers?
I don't know, different vibes. I like the Scrooge McDuck character, and I think Rescue Rangers, they kind of perfected the Disney afternoon formula by then, so they had a little practice.
Yeah.
I think I completely missed both of them.
You can't choose.
Oh, the Disney app.
Really?
Okay, you missed the Disney afternoon?
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what channel that was on when I was growing up. I didn't have cable. So
well, at least
on the Disney.
At least you've seen the Toon Disney memes where it's like actors like drawing the Mickey Mouse ears, and then they trace the Mickey Mouse ears, and they're actually awful.
I think wasn't DuckTales and that stuff in like syndication for a while on ABC? Yeah, it should have been on ABC because that's like a Disney owned thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they put it on ABC. I remembered on Toon Disney. There was like Disney where they would put a mix of cartoons in their live action stuff, and Toon Disney. That was all their old cartoons. And then once in a while they'd have something from the vault, and then the vault would open up and they'd play like a 1960s cartoon or something. I hated the Disney sitcoms, and my siblings were 100%. They loved all the Disney sitcoms. I was always an animation guy.
Yeah, the sitcoms. I never watched any of that stuff.
I'm
pretty sure it must have been on like ABC at one point because we didn't have cable or satellite when I was little.
I think they recycled stuff on ABC. Yeah.
Must have been.
Okay.
I mean, it would be silly for them not to.
Just missed out on it entirely then.
On DVD.
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
They survive okay. I mean, Disney's TV animation studio obviously wasn't as good as their like live action animation studio, but I think that that's probably some of the best, most fluid animation in like children's cartoons that have been done. They had a lot of like the really solid Disney design, character design sensibility to what they did. So the cartoons held up really, really well.
Yeah, I think so.
And now they all suck. All the new Disney stuff.
Pretty much.
Okay. I don't even know what they're doing now. I guess Star versus the Forces of Evil, and I don't know what else. Marvel Spider-Man doesn't look good.
Yeah, I know. I tried to watch a little bit of it. It's like almost every I've seen. They've done multiple Spider-Man cartoons. It seems like they keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah. So they're infantile. They're making him an infantile character.
Because even though his story is all about growing up.
Yep.
Go figure. It's like, and Dan Slott had something to do with that one, right? Like he's like listed as an executive producer or something,
or consulting producer. Maybe
something like that.
Like he gets to show up at the meeting.
Yeah. I can't imagine they'd let the actual comic book people have too much to do with this, but Disney's made it pretty
usually
clear.
They're pretty separate, I guess.
Yeah, well, Disney's made it pretty clear that they really don't like the comics division and would prefer that those people be as far away as possible from the mainline production.
Yeah, they keep them in a different building, like far away, different part of the city. It's like unnecessarily far away.
Yeah, and
but it might wrap it up here pretty soon, unless you guys had anything else you wanted to talk about.
Let's see. It was nice to chat with everybody. Sorry for turning your DC movie stream into a recap on Gamergate and all right.
Oh, it's all good. Some of it was I brought up too, so yeah, no worries. We always go off the rails.
Yeah.
I think we stuck to the topic for more than an hour, so that's a record. So if anything, we're more on track than usual. So any final thoughts?
Plug your channels, everybody, I guess. I'm number one Marmaduke fan everywhere. I'm on Minds, I'm on Gap, NO1 Marmaduke fan, and I've got just hit me up. I just want to hear like your comic book recommendation. If you know like an indie creator who's struggling to get some attention, let me know, because I want to have a finger on the pulse of the independent comic book scene.
How many? I've always wanted to ask you this. How many Marmaduke comics have you actually read?
I don't know. I read in the news. I used to read the newspaper strip page growing up, so I would read them, like once a day for most of my childhood. And I never liked the Marmaduke comic because I didn't think it was beautifully illustrated. And it's interesting how much it's changed over time. Like the character's undergone some like radical transformations. He's always just been like, it's like Garfield. Garfield's like, but Garfield reached more iconic status because he became more cartoony and more human-like. But it was the fun comic about having a big dog. And I think there's a place for fun comics about having a big dog. I don't know if it needed to last 50 years, but I have a perfectly adequate amount of admiration for Marmaduke. And I'm sure that's enough to qualify me as the official #1 Marmaduke fan.
No one's contested you.
Yeah.
No one's contested you for the title.
The movie. I hate the movie because every time I try to enter Marmaduke fan, Google always suggests Marmaduke fart. So I just automatically hate that movie and will never.
Don't even know how much of your new audience even knows that Marmaduke fan is an old in-joke that the video got deleted for, so we can't even reference it.
People know. I've heard the story a couple times in old videos, but that's the story that I'll bring up if someone asks. I just think that the name #1 Marmaduke fan, I am blessed with like a username no one will remember, but that brings me tons of joy.
Well, that's all that matters.
That is funny, though. Most of your subscribers now will be too young to know what Marmaduke was.
Well, the new channel, if you check, I'll just say go check out #1 Marmaduke fan Uncut. That's where I'm going to be doing like my actual like old school comic book, cover all the comic book news I can kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll know it because I've got Scooby-Doo as my profile pic for Uncut. That's how you know.
Nice. I'll check that out. But I've got all of you guys' links in the description box too, so people watching definitely check out their channels.
You gotta let them plug their channels, otherwise I'm gonna look like
I'm Unranked Chevron. I'm on Twitter and YouTube. I upload when I want to, which isn't as often as I should, but yeah, I do comic books and sometimes movies and sometimes other stuff, and
yeah, quality over quantity, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what we'll tell.
As long as they have to watch at least one, prove it. Yeah.
At least one. I enjoy your content. So, any final words, Tristan?
No. I mean, I check out my channel at Nerdette's Newsstand. I just cover comics and sometimes geek culture stuff, or news rather. I don't know what you want to call it, but I bitch a lot. That's what I guess the easiest way to say it is. But other than that, nothing.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you guys all being here. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us on.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you guys on again sometime. And I want to thank everybody out there for watching and listening. And definitely check out the description box for links to everybody's channels. And once again, thank you for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.